In 1999, 68 players from around the country gathered to perform at the inaugural USDGC. 2 decades later, this title has become one of the most prestigious in all of the sport. Let me be the first to welcome you to the 20th United States Disc Golf Championship. And welcome to the 2018 United States Disc Golf Championship. This is the 20th running of this tournament out of Rock Hill, South Carolina. We are here at Winthrop Gold University. I am Jamie Thomas, and joined by the man who needs no introduction, Mr. Avery Jenkins. How you doing this afternoon?
Doing great. It's so great to be back here. 19th season for me, the 20th anniversary of the USDGC. This is exciting times and the last major of the PDJ season. So incredible place to be right now.
It has been an exciting season, no doubt, thus far, and one of the biggest events here at Rock Hill always comes down to Hole 17, which is where we're posted up for the Hole 17 live program presented by Innova Champion Discs.
Well, hole 17, it's significant because I believe more championships have been won or lost based on the outcome of that particular hole.
17, what we really wanted to do was to have a short, dramatic hole.
You just know that's the one you want to watch. That's it. There's no lead that's safe.
And to have the spectators stay interested the whole time, it was important to have a hole where the round wasn't over until that hole had been completed.
Because anything can happen. We've seen the hole aced, and we've seen people take very large numbers that you wouldn't have expected them to take.
It sure gets the players' attention when they're on the tee pad.
Hole 17, what a diabolical invention by the creators of this course. Avery, you have played this tournament many, many times. You have stood in these competitors' shoes. You have been standing on that tee pad. What is it like?
Yeah, coming down the stretch, you're talking about the second to the last hole of the round, no matter where you're sitting, over par, under par, hopefully, and having to face this type of hole with an island green, water long, surrounded by hay bales. Just putting the shot on the green is the challenge. That's the difficulty.
And we will be hanging out with you guys greenside here at Hole 17. You can see right behind us. We will be here all weekend for you for the Friday and Saturday rounds. But we also have some roving cams. We will catch up on some action from other places in the course as well. We are well underway here at Rock Hill. There's a handful of cards who have already made their way through Hole 17 and have finished. And there's some big-name competitors who have gotten off to a hot start already.
Yeah, we were looking at Cameron Colglazer, actually out of Mobile, Alabama, 8 down through 12 holes, so making a huge move, currently in 9th place, so getting that top 10 right now, second round through, and there's a lot of good players still to play. Like you're saying, we're at the 1:30 tee time and the 1:50 league card start.
And here is your top 10 for the USDGC through about 1.5 rounds. Paul Macbeth obviously starting out with a huge 13-down bogey-free performance yesterday, followed closely by some names you will well know, Josh Anton, Zach Melton, and James Conrad. And right behind them, on their heels, how about Nikola Castro, Greg Barsby, Matt Oram, and Paul Ulibarri? Talk about the talent that's chasing some of these leaders so far, Avery.
Well, you just mentioned LeCastro, a USDGC champion of the past in 2009. Greg Barsby, current world champion in 2018. And then down the list, we're talking about a few other players, and Cameron Colglazer tied for 9th place right now. Not shown on the leaderboard, but he is along the mix.
And we have some action live here on hole 17. We are playing to the B pin here. And we see Team Discmania's AJ Carey, who started his tournament with an ace. Let's see how he attacks this island.
Maybe second decisions here. Again, a very scary hole. You're going to definitely take your time, not trying to force a shot too much on this. And he steps up to the tee pad, kind of analyze the situation. A little recheck, a little wipe of the disc. Deep breath. Take your time. Be patient on this hole.
Very humid out here. We've seen some, weather that has caused the tournament to even be called off in the last few years, but that is not the case so far. It looks like AJ's ready. Disc is dry, ready to attack.
Looks to be a putter, a very overstable putter. Throwing the forehand shot, a high percentage shot on this island green. You'll see a variety of maybe overstable putters to mid-range to a very overstable driver. That's definitely the play.
Chris Clemens, the lefty here, going very quickly. Looks like more of a straight attack. A little bit of a hyzer.
And he can play aggressive, being a left-handed thrower with the touch and the control and the speed. Left-handed can take advantage of this hole really well. Shouldn't be too scared. It's more of a righty fear of anything.
Jamie Mosier laying up, something that three-time world champion Nate Doss is known for doing on this hole.
I've seen it a few times of the top players not trying to bite off too much on the shot. You either take that risk on the tee shot or the second shot coming up for Jamie. After you lay up, it's still, you got to cross over to the island green. And on this hole, the special rules are if you do go out of bounds 3 times in a row from either tee or your first shots to the green, you go OB 3 times, you go directly to the drop zone and proceed from there. So it's a tough play to lay up this short and having a second shot to the green. Not too much easier, but the conditions are perfect right now. Not too much wind off the water, and I could see an easy up and down for Jamie.
Not really any reason to play too aggressive right here.
So 254 from the tee, probably about 200 feet.
Oh.
And that's what can happen if you don't throw it hard enough, catching the top of the bail and falling short OB. And so he'll rethrow from his previous lie.
And he goes again quickly. Those hay bales can be a heartbreaker. Puts plenty of distance on that one, though.
Yeah, not making that mistake twice. Throws a little bit longer, just outside the circle's edge for his 4th shot.
And that's such a common thing that we've seen. We mentioned at the top of the show, there have been tournaments won and lost. And as you saw in the video packet, that's by design.
Yeah, they wanted to create, that difficulty, that challenge on the second to the final hole, almost like a TPC Sawgrass in golf, where the golf round is not over at 16 or 17 in this case, and they're trying to create that clinch factor. And we've seen a lot of top players coming down the stretch missing up on this hole particularly. This is the one hole that you can be under par and finish this hole over par for the round with a quickness.
And as you went and stepped off earlier, this basket is very, very close to those hay bales, so the players will have to make that decision here. Do they need to go for it at this point in their tournament?
Yeah, this is the B position on 17. Playing A yesterday varies about 5 feet, but with the OB on this B position is about 6 feet from the OB hay bales. A little more attackable from the tee, but on the green, you got to be very tentative on that putt. Make sure you draw metal. If you're not going to make it in the chains, please draw metal in the basket.
And we saw Jamie Mosier miss there. Here is AJ Carey lining up for birdie.
He's your 2017 amateur world champion, making his debut at the USDGC.
Local boy makes good on the putt, takes a deuce, and that feels really good.
Yeah, Rock Hill represent here playing on his home track, his home course, for the biggest tournament of the year.
Clemonade, they call him. Lining up for the lefty. Ooh, sneaks it in pro side.
Pro side, lefty side.
Yeah, you have to think about it the other way. I get to easily call that pro side here, as Jamie Mosier will tap out, and they will head to the final hole of their round, which is, we talked about hole 17 being a challenge. That tee shot on 18 is no joke.
It's been interesting to see throughout the years that they change these ropes and these OB lines each and every year, maybe widening them up or kind of cinching them down on 18. That rope to the right side has brought down way down the hill. From previous years, they used to be up by the shack, up by the pro shop, at least 10 feet from the wall. Now that encroaches so much farther into the fairway, really limiting your tee selection, your shot selection, and how far you can actually take that tee shot down the fairway. A great finishing hole, probably one of my favorite finishing holes in all of disc golf.
And if you are following along with UDisc Live, which is providing all of the live scoring for this weekend, that was our 10-10 card. So they teed off 10-10 this morning. It is 1:40 p.m. local time, and we're about 10 minutes away from the second round debut of Mr. Macbeth, Mr. Anton, Mr. Melton, and Mr. Conrad up on hole 1. Approaching the tee very soon will be Scott Merritt, Aaron Doyle, Mark Huther, and Eric Eastwood. You have to forgive me on some of the names. And we see hole 17. Just nice and shaded right now, as we got a little bit of shade here in the studio too, but a beautiful backdrop right behind us. Lake Winthrop is going off, and it still feels like a North Carolina summer right now.
Yeah, the temperatures are expected to be about mid-80s to low 90s throughout the weekend, and there's no shortage of humidity down south, but that's why we're here in October. This is some of the best weather in the country, and no better place to be for the USDGC this time of year.
And we should look at the leaderboard momentarily here to just kind of get you caught up as we see the view from 17's tee. As we saw, we have a Leo Pironen, who is a great player out of Finland, who you know pretty well there, Avery. He's 2 down through 2. Hot start.
Yeah, phenomenal player. He's the Finnish champion, current Finnish champion, 3-time, I believe, and a fantastic player. He's really conservative, nothing too aggressive, but stays within the limits, stays within his game. Solid player through and through, and it's good to see the big jump, making a 5-spot jump into 5th place.
And here we are on hole 1, courtesy of some of our roving cams. This is your current world champion, the crowd favorite, Mr. Greg Barsby. Going with that forehand as that pin has been moved up the hill to that new spot that debuted last year when Nate Sexton was able to capitalize and really use his forehand to great advantage. And here's Greg Barsby's former touring partner all the way out of Alabama. That is Matt Oram, Matty O.
Yeah, it's funny. I walked up to the group yesterday. Matt went 7 for 7, and I met with him on hole 8. And I was like, who'd you guys pay off to play together? And they're playing together for the second time this week.
And he is a very lanky build on Matty O. He kind of has a unique form. If you've ever seen him play in person, you'll know, especially when he gets to the putting green. But he really makes it work, and he seems to show up big when the lights are brightest. And yet another player with a great resume. You have an amateur champion, Paul Ulibarri.
2005 amateur world champion Paul Ulibarri out of Arizona. One of the top favorites at this tournament every year, and I think he has the most top 10 finishes of any player in the field throughout the history of USDGC.
And he's also going to lean on what looks to be a very overstable disc to flex it up the hill and let it fade out back, but you don't want to challenge that hill too hard because you could run away and have a very uphill putt. And we are so glad you guys can join us. Once again, you are watching Hole 17 live. You are watching us either on Innova Disc, YouTube, or Facebook channel. So if you have friends who are wondering, hey, how can I tune in, make sure you point them that way. We are using UDisc Live to track all of the scores for the entire weekend. So big thanks to everything they do. And hey, if you're jonesing, if you're Jomezing for a little bit of that traditional round coverage, they are going to be covering both the lead and chase cards. So we got you covered one way or the other, but we're so happy that you're here with us. And you know what, Avery? Just for having some of our wonderful audience members join in, we're going to do some giveaways this weekend. Why don't you clue them in a little bit on what we did for them?
Yeah, pretty exciting. We actually got a chance to go through the Innova Pro Shop yesterday, walking around with Jamie, and we got to hand-pick boxes of goodies, lots of different product throughout the USDGC, branded materials for different shirts to hats to discs, and we're going to be giving away those disc boxes throughout the weekend with some giveaways here watching the live broadcast.
Yeah, so stay tuned to get that, and we're not going to tell you what's in the boxes yet, but if you want a little sneak preview, hop on over to InnovaDisc Instagram TV, that IGTV notification that always pops up on the top of your phone. Click that watch button. We had a little fun with it. Thanks to Jeff Panis for capturing our mad shopping spree yesterday.
What's in your box?
Oh, you'll find out real soon, but it's a pretty good one. I can tell you that both of those boxes are valued at right around $200. So all you got to do, wait for the instructions on how to enter and follow along. Make sure you're liked and subscribed to all the relevant pages, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Innovadis is hosting us for this week, and we are so appreciative of everything that they do for media in this sport. Just so much goes on behind the scenes that they don't get recognition for. As we're taking a look at the leaderboard, another very familiar name just encroaching on that top 10 a little bit, the 2013 U.S. champion Steve Brenster, who had one of the most memorable moments of my career in the sport, tapping out on hole 18, raising his hands in victory. You could tell how much it meant to him and how much this title means to all the players competing this weekend. And we will be going to the lead card. Will be coming up very shortly. We'll send you back to hole 1 momentarily so you can see Paul Macbeth.
Boss.
Decked out.
The boss man today. Shooting a bogey-free 13 under yesterday. He missed 5 holes. Just understand that. He missed 5 holes, got 5 pars out there in his 10th season playing the USDGC. So he has a 10-star member as a player here. So good experience. He took it down at 15 and looking to take down another title here in 2018.
It's so scary that we can talk about Paul in that context where we can say how many holes he missed instead of how many holes he birdied. Of course, he shot that 18 down that got probably the best SportsCenter highlight package the sport has ever seen earlier this year at D-Glow up in Michigan. And you know he is raring to go to get that second U.S. title. It's been since European Open that he's won a major, so he hasn't found that major victory this year yet, and he's going to look to rectify that this week.
It's a good place to do it. Off to a hot start and in control. Got a 2-stroke lead over second place, being Josh Anthon and Zach Melton. And round out the lead card, we have James Conrad. Currently on hole number 1, we got Paul Urabari on the second card.
And we talked about skipping down too far past that elevated pin, and this is the putt that results. Let's see if he can convert.
Up and in.
Good high putt.
Yeah, beautiful putt. Obviously getting low on the knee to kind of get that angle and straddle out of the bush, but converts nicely. Known for being a great putter all around, so no surprise for him to knock down that putt.
And he's also made a debut on some commentary this year. I guess he did a little last year at Spin TV. He's done some with Joe Mez this year. And now we're going to look at one of undoubtedly the best putters to ever grace us with his presence. That is Nicola Castro. When his mind is right, there's nothing he can't miss.
That's right. I was wondering if they're playing doubles. Worst shot doubles here. They're in the same exact spot, straddling out to the right of the bush, elevated basket. It's got a little low to high putt, but he really needs this to get the round going. Always good to birdie hole 1 to get things, on the right track.
Worst shot doubles. This course is already hard enough, Avery. Worst shot doubles would just be brutal for these guys.
Both putters got to make it. Taking his time on this putt. Like I said, first hole, kind of feeling the nerves. He's experienced. He's been in this position many times, especially going into second round USDGC. But definitely taking his time. Those branches seem to be extending into his arm swing here. Like I said, a very low to high putter, trying to not drag the ground with the putter as he lifts and releases.
Just a little bit of an overcorrection on that, and he's going to find the band. Got a nice little roll, so he's a little bit higher, more of a level putt to tap in for his par, what we assume will be a tap in for a player of his caliber. And Matteo looks like he was making the putt nice and easy.
Don't take these putts for granted here. Anything that draws metal that doesn't stick in the chains or into the basket could easily roll down that hill. Very fast green, elevated basket. Lots of things could happen, and we've seen several bogeys on hole 1, unfortunately. So don't want to make that mistake. This is the one hole you want to capitalize on because it's the only hole in the entire course that doesn't have out of bounds.
Yeah, and we saw Greg Barsby there tapping in for his 3. We missed his birdie attempt, and we are just mere moments away from the lead cards teeing off for their second round. Paul Yoberry looks to have the lone birdie from that group as they move on to hole 2. And Avery, again, going back to your experience, this course is one where you really want to get under par early, get birdies often, because that middle 6 stretch is very challenging.
That's a make or break stretch on this entire course. Lots out of bounds, lots of fast greens. We even have a new hole on hole number 9. We have a triple island hole, so that's going to provide a lot of excitement for the fans and maybe a little less excitement for the players. A really tough hole to battle out there, but we're going to see some new changes as the ropes only get tighter on the fairways, and the new 9 we saw it produce some huge numbers yesterday.
Yeah, very interesting. A whole mix of opinions on that hole from all the different players in the field, but that I'm very excited to see how that hole plays when it comes down to the weekend. You'll need to be more aggressive. You'll need to put yourself in a good spot, but when the wind is down and the heat is up, so far it's been a pretty scoreable hole, and most notably the biggest change to the course this year.
And it's almost like the equivalent or very similar to, it's almost the hole 17 of the middle 6 in a sense. You have that tee shot, you can lay up to a shorter island or try to go for that second island before proceeding to the third island where the basket's located. So there's a lot of nerves on that tee shot and second shot because there's OB everywhere else around the card.
And we're looking at Zach Melton representing Dynamic Disc and also representing some Tennessee Volunteers.
I like it. Got that volunteer orange on.
And Josh Anton, you see just behind Jonathan Gomez there, representing Innovatis, as he has for many, many years. And his traditional red, that's James Conrad in the green. Long hair, don't care. The man can putt. And, of course, Paul Macbeth we saw just a moment ago. The nerves on this tee, even though it's round 2. How do you follow up such a great performance yesterday?
Yeah, I think it's Will staying in the moment. He's been here before. He's done this. He's won this. And right now it's shot for shot, hole for hole. He's done this, several times before. It's about keeping clean, going bogey-free, keeping it in bounds, and making those putts.
I would imagine this is either a Firebird or an FD3, something like that. Gentle release there.
A little wide on the outside, really trying to avoid that hay bale kind of blocking wall and that bush. So really just trying to put it down there and give himself a putt.
It's a very technical forehand to start out your day.
Look very happy with that shot, though. They're at least the results. And as you can see, that tree in front of them, just right off the tee pad, a mandatory. So you have to go right side of that mandatory tree and then swing it back to the right. So pretty demanding first shot. No gimme by any means.
And Josh Anton also beats that bush, and he's going to look to have about a 38-39 footer there for our European friends, right around 11-12 meters. And here's Zach Melton, the lefty. I'm going to study his line right here. I want to see how I would play this if I get a chance to go on Spectator Sunday.
Going overstable. Looks like a slower
Ooh.
disc, but catches a tree late. Yeah, it's something about the nerves on this hole. You try to take a deep breath. A lot going through your mind. You just want to go through the motions, just like you practiced. And hearing your name called by Andy Green, it's kind of sends chills, down your spine. As a player, it's always a fantastic, fantastic feeling, especially being the lead card, hearing your name called, and stepping out here on the first tee, ready to get things going for round 2.
James Conrad going to also line up the forehand, like his fellow righties did. Ooh, looked like a little slip there.
It's such a short hole, too. 255 feet, 78 meters. And you want to throw a driver, an overstable driver, but you don't want to throw it too hard. And it looked like he put a little move on it, didn't put the power or the line on it, and finished off right side, catching that bush and that wall, and going to line up a really difficult up and down second shot for him.
As the lead card makes their way down fairway number 1, we'll take a look at udisclive.com, and we'll see some more familiar names making their way into the top 10. 2 former champions. In fact, your most recent 2 former champions, Nate Sexton, looks to be 3 down through 4 holes. And how about Jeremy Colling? He is 5 down through 7. Very hot start for both of those guys, again, who know how to get it done on this course when the lights are the brightest.
Great experience, obviously, being past champions on this course. Colling was shooting great yesterday. Lights out, 7 down through 16 holes until he got down to the island hole on 17. Had a little trouble, missed 3 times, ended up scoring an 8 and dropping from 7 down to 2 down and dropping from 5th to 30th in 1 hole. So a 25 spot decrease.
And there's James Conrad. Not really much of an opportunity to actually make that putt. from his angle, that basket's really tucked against the right side, but sets himself up to take no more than a par.
Yeah, first hole, you're not going to force nothing. At this, in this position, out of position, you're not going to force a shot, especially even Zach right here. Going to lay up that easily, making that decision. Fast green, elevated basket, lots can happen. You don't want to bogey that first hole.
And now we have Josh Anton getting that arm ready, warming that up. He is undoubtedly one of the greatest putters that I've ever seen.
And there's no doubt about that. Very underrated as a player in my mind. Just for the players that seen him play, he's fantastic. One of the best players out there, one of the best putters out there, undoubtedly, for the fact he went 14 putts inside circle 1 and hit 4 putts in circle 2 yesterday. So 100% putting for the day and shooting that 11 down, 2 strokes back of the lead. So that's incredible.
18 putts, 1 round. Put it inside circle 2, and the man does not miss. Let's take you back to hole 17. You'll notice we have a whole bunch of different angles. We are going to dissect this as best we can. And let's see how this card will attack. There's a confident forehand sweeping towards the pin. Ooh, just buzzing the tower a little bit there.
Nice aggressive line, not being scared, not leaving it short. That's a mistake you don't want to make. You definitely want to go at this shot a little harder and throw it a little longer than you think, because you just want to get in bounds. That's the main objective on this hole.
Another forehand coming up. Two for two, buzzing the tower.
Matched that line perfectly and almost maybe using the same disc in a sense.
They say early to bed, early to rise. Get you on hole 17 with a pair of good lies. Let's see if the backhand. Oh,
good follow through.
That needs to get right though.
Right at the
Coming
camera.
right into the camera, and just seeing if we're awake so far in this live broadcast as we just get started. But never fear, if you hit the camera, which is on a platform out over the water, you are probably going out into the lake. So that may have been a bonus, because now that disc is going to be just a little bit easier to rake off the bottom and get back to the players.
Crazy as it is, I've been waiting for that to happen. Unfortunately, it was to take a penalty stroke, but I was waiting for that disc to come close to that tower and that camera for the last day or so.
And this looks like a better correction here if that right edge can stay up. Ooh,
wow.
Just over.
That would have been a nice circle 3. You throw a B on the tee shot, and then you ring it up from the tee pad for the circle 3. That would have been great to see.
Yeah, it's nice. He has a little bit of a moment there to kind of relax and breathe. And we have an ace while we were putting on hole 1. Hole 17, once again aced. Coming right to you. And while we're waiting for that package, we can see the rest of the group. And that is, Avery, you have a wide knowledge of many of these players, and I'm trying to find. All right, ace coming to you. It's all good. Yeah, just so for the 5 of you that are watching this right now, we're practicing here, and oh, lefty ace, just swinging it perfectly wide. Ooh.
Wow, dancing on the backside rim and staying in.
Hey, so if you didn't see Nick Wood's ace yesterday, then that's pretty much shot for shot what happened to him too, even with cutting through the chains, bouncing off the back, and sliding back in. What are you looking at here, Avery?
I believe that was Eric Eastwood from Canada.
All right.
Scoring up that big 1 on hole 17 and getting some press, getting a photo shoot, and a little social media post for later.
Well, flying down south for the fall, carding a 1 on 17, and we'll swing you back around to 2 momentarily here, and we'll catch up with our lead card. And Eric Eastwood, congratulations. And how about a little lefty power right there, Lefty Zach Melton's laying up. Lefty Eric Eastwood aces. Lefty Zach Melton on the tee for hole 2.
Keeping it low, keeping it clean. This is the first par 4 these players will face during the round. Par 67 total, so this is a great 2-shot hole to start the round. And it's no easy pickings. There's a lot out of bounds. Not so much on the tee shot, but the second shot coming up, parking lot left and fence line right. So a lot of things can happen. This first tee shot sets up everything to come.
And we saw Zach Melton put it pretty much in the prime spot. You want to be out in the sunlight just past that shade, and you are good to attack the pin. Here's James Conrad. Just a little low, but you can't really get that tee shot too high in the air or you challenge those branches. He definitely has the distance that he could still reach the pin, but he's in that spot, Avery, where you kind of have to pick. Do you want to be aggressive? Do you want to play it safe for the 4?
That was a good mistake to make. If you're going to make any mistake, you're going to throw it low and not try to challenge those branches. Any kind of kick right or left really puts you out of position for the second shot.
And we're checking the leaderboard here once again. James Conrad actually took a 4 on that first hole, and not really what you want to do, especially with Paul McBeth getting the birdie and extending his lead early. But as we have seen, you can get a 1 or you can get an 11 on hole 17. So we're posted up right here. We're going to see a lot of rounds rise and fall throughout the afternoon and throughout the weekend. Once again, this is hole 17 live. You're watching on Innovadist YouTube or Facebook channels. We are so happy you're here. We are just moments away from being joined by Mr. Jonathan Poole, who is the event coordinator, event director of the entire thing. He used to be the tournament director, but as this event has grown and really required so much more manpower, he's had to kind of step back and take more of a bird's eye production. You saw him earlier in the video clip about 17, so we're very excited to have him kind of talk to us about the history of this tournament and how it's grown over the years. And back here on hole 2, Paul McBeth with a little foliage in his way here.
He's got it.
And a little bit of a possible slippery footing here as McBeth looks to work his forehand over the parking lot.
Out of position here, not trying to play too aggressive. Really want to finish to the right side, back in the middle of the fairway. Again, that parking lot, you really got to go at it, play aggressive, and clear it, but maybe not the shot you want to attempt this early in the round, especially being back that far from the basket.
And it was a little bit high, and that's the problem. He wasn't able to get into position to attack that pin. Very low ceiling, but a high release on there, and that's okay. You get a birdie on 1, you can get a par on 2.
This is probably one of my favorite shots to watch players attempt, for the fact that there's so much commitment level on this shot. There's a distance. There's definitely OB close, about 10 feet left side is out of bounds parking lot. So at this point, it's a cool shot, a forehand or a big turnover shot. But to watch the execution by the players on this second shot, hole 2, is phenomenal, especially when they convert for a birdie.
James Conrad committing fully to his backhand. This needs to hyzer.
Now, if you take that line out to the right side, you got to challenge 2 or 3 massive trees, and an errant kick off one of those. You can kick far enough left that it'll actually get back to the out of bounds area. So you're taking that chance.
And as the lead card works their way up the fairway of number 2, we welcome in Mr. Jonathan Poole. We are so happy to have you here for the 20th USDGC. Let me just ask you right off the bat, how are you feeling in this moment now that everything's underway, the preparation is done, and the competitors are out on the course?
Fantastic. It's so great to, you work so hard to get to the point, to get this thing underway. Then once they take the field, so to speak, you can relax and just do what we know how to do and run a great championship. So I can relax. It's been a couple of great days so far. Good action on the course. I'm as excited as all the other fans are out here right now.
3 aces already.
Right.
Are you surprised by that? Because I know I am.
No, these guys, this is the best in the world. These reachable holes, I expect them to be throwing right at it. So no surprise that 3 have gone in.
All right here behind us, one on hole 1 by A.J. Carey and Nick Wood and Eric Eastwood as well. So 20 years ago, 1999, the vision was set. And maybe you didn't know how far this event would grow, but what was the thinking back then running that event for the first few years?
Well, we just knew we had an opportunity to do something special with our, with Innovate East being right here. We have a great facility. We have the support of the university, a grounds crew out here on top of a beautiful piece of property. And, we just knew that if we could have an opportunity to run an event year after year after year and figure some things out, rather than having like Worlds was at the time. It came to Charlotte in '97, which is kind of when the idea was born with me, and then it goes to the next club or tournament or city or the next host. In some cases, they didn't even have a full year to prepare. So it was no wonder that the Worlds would have a good year and then maybe kind of a down year and then a great year and then kind of back to a good year instead of that sustained pattern of improvement. And I thought, man, let's get one here. Give us a chance to continue to do it over and over again and learn. And fortunately, we were able to do that. 20 years in, it's funny. I kind of thought that we would have been, where we are today in more like 5 years. But that was just how naive I was at the time. I mean, it obviously takes a lot more to get us to this point, to do all the things that we're doing today than what I thought. But, at the end of the day, hey, 20 years, we're here.
So I was going to say, tell us about just even the idea behind holding a major in one location, on one course, on one piece of property, for the fact that the World Championships rotates as a current rotation, a different city every single year, but the USDGC holding down the one course, one location every single year, and the value behind that.
Well, I do like that Worlds rotates. I also think that whoever's getting it needs to know at least 2 years in advance. And we just weren't to that point yet. But for us to be able to learn and try new things and build a team, build the infrastructure that it takes to do what we're doing. I mean, we're 120 deep this week working. So this is one of those years where the field size is almost identical to the people that are working. And that's what it takes. And we're still not. There's 25 more things I want to do, but you can't just make that happen, and that's what I needed to learn. I needed to learn some patience and accept that some of this was the reality was going to take a little bit longer. But it would be really difficult to do what we're doing unless you had at least 3 to 5 years to really kind of build your momentum. And I just didn't, as a eager, optimistic promoter, I just didn't get that. I didn't know that early on, but we've certainly learned it over the years.
Yeah, and you're trying to really progress this thing each and every year. You got to want to make huge steps, but not too big, too early. You want to make sure it increases every single year, gets better by a little bit every single time, and obviously adding that media component every single year, it seems to be increasing each and every year, and especially this year more than ever.
Well, and that's an important point. We want live, we want all that excitement, we want the entertainment, we want the sizzle as much as all of the fans do. We've pioneered this live broadcasting business here. And so one of the things that we had to learn was, man, sometimes you got to take a step back to take a step forward. And so we took 2 years really off from what we're doing live and just needed to regroup. We needed to find the right partners. We needed to get the money there. And so we actually had to kind of step back a little bit from what we were doing, let Jomez proceed with the next day front nine, back nine, which was good enough to be consistent with most of the other top events, and that gave us time to get back out ahead of the media curve. But we kept coming in like last minute, all right, let's throw it together and try and do live. And I'm like, man, something's got to change. So we had to stop. We had to step back and do a little bit more serious planning. And I think this year what you're going to see is a bigger step forward than we've ever made. And this is just a step towards where we're going.
Agreed.
There's been some very exciting things that we can't quite share with you yet, but rest assured this is not the top floor of this production. This is only the beginning, and I know that you're very excited to make those announcements when the time becomes pertinent. You brought up something that's so very important, and that's the team. And what you guys are going to see all week is spotters with flags, volunteers, running players, and food all around the course. So we want to take this opportunity early and often to thank all of the volunteers who come from all across the country and sometimes around the world just to help out. And we'll take a quick look at the leaderboard here as we await the next group on hole 17. Paul Macbeth has one down through two, but Josh Anton, Zach Melton right on his heels still. And just all the big names, the cream rising to the top. In a world of parity this season, are you surprised? And I know it's early, but are you surprised so far by what we're seeing?
No, I mean, a lot of times here, so much can happen out on the course. Sometimes it takes a couple of days to see names like this work their way up. But to see it be that stacked that fast, where you come out on day 2 and you got a loaded top couple of cards. I mean, from a fan, you're just licking your chops. It's like, yes, this is what I signed up for. But with Worlds having just been so close to this event, all those names, all those guys were right up there. So you're seeing who was right on top of their game on very, very difficult courses at Smuggler's Notch. So watching those guys perform up there and how they tackle those courses and how they, the composure and everything that it takes at this level, no surprise that at all that you're seeing many of the same faces.
And we are back on hole 3. As we talked about, we just saw one of our wonderful volunteers giving some instruction to the card. And this is a demanding downhill tee shot. It's one that a lot of these players really need to birdie, but you can very quickly have your round go sideways as Josh Anton steps up, looking like he's lining up a backhand. And Avery, this is probably a putter or a slow disc.
Typically a mid-range, because you want to have a little speed at the end, but you do want it to settle. So it's not going to be a driver unless it's a forehand, but on the backhand shot, it's going to be either a putter or a mid-range. As Anton nestles it up just outside of the 3-4 meter side of the circle, backside green.
And Zach Melton will be next. An even more demanding lefty shot as the hyzer will have to travel over out of bounds most of the way. We'll see how he can handle this challenge early.
Interesting changes in this hole. This is one hole that hasn't really changed that much in the last 10-15 years, except for it almost turned into almost an island green, the way they bunched up and brought that OB line in from the left side, almost down the center of the fairway on hole 3.
Yeah, the green is much tighter than it was years ago, and this is one of the few holes that's been used in every single U.S. championship. Same tee, same pin, the whole way.
And same result for Zach Melton as Josh Anton. He will have a circle 1 putt, and I would be shocked if this is not a JC AVR in Mr. Conrad's hands. He can put those on a frozen rope, so be on alert, be on ace alert when he's standing on the tee.
It was incredible watching him in Vermont throwing that putter off the tee when everybody else in the group was throwing driver. That's pretty courageous.
Full commitment, laser line.
Over the ropes and getting down, nestling within 5 feet of the basket left side. Should have been easy pop in, drop in for birdie on hole number 3.
Beautiful execution there, and we'll see our tournament leader, Paul Macbeth, the only person on the card to take a 4. And this is probably one of his signature discs as well.
Looks to be a rock, has some good speed, but good control, good accuracy, straight carry as it nestles right next to the basket.
4 great shots on hole 3, and
Absolutely.
Are you gonna have to make this hole harder next year?
I don't know. I mean, for that group, the green could be, half the size that it is, but for everybody else, they're probably appreciating that extra 20 feet. But, that's just certainly not one of the longer holes, but one of the more iconic ones over the years.
And definitely one where you could get some scoring separation in that front 6. Right before you came on, Avery and I were discussing how important it is to get under par early and kind of, you got to play squirrel golf a little bit. You got to store up those birdies and wait for winter to come, because no doubt, again, the name of the show is Hole 17 Live.
Well, and one thing about that hole is it may very well be hole 1 next year. We're looking at some course changes just because the event is growing. We need to accommodate the growth, and so that may very well be the hole that they start off on next year. So we'll see how that adds to the pressure that you feel after your name is called on the first tee.
You heard it here first, folks, as we watch Barry Schultz, a 3-time U.S. champion, just fall a little bit short of those hay bales, and he's definitely been in this position before. Oh, looks like he made it over the hay bales as 3 OBs for Barry here, and he will proceed to the drop zone. Kyle Ekman out of Huntington Beach is up next.
Yeah, this card looks to be having some trouble on the round through 16. We got Good Pasture and Ekman currently both at 5 over par, and then Barella at 2, and Schultz at even currently through 16. Obviously with 3 OBs, that score is going to change.
Great shot there by Kyle, just grabbing the grass with that slower disc. Charlie Goodpasture is up next, attacking this hole. And not too much wind out here, JP. It's pretty attackable, as we've just seen with the ace.
As you said, it felt a little breeze coming from right to left. He's going to attempt a backhand, and it's a very difficult shot, trying to get that slow turnover, maybe nose up, good speed control, good accuracy. And it's such a touchy shot, but when done and perfected and thrown right, that's the result you get as he puts it back side of the green, about 30 feet back.
There's a common landing spot there. Anthony Barella, one of the promising young stars that I'm sure you have the pleasure of managing on Team Innova. It's wide enough. Is it short enough? Ooh.
Barely.
You don't see that a whole
Wow.
lot. That little hillside does not often hold the disc.
Especially hitting the top of the disc. Usually that's usually where you see the slide right into the water, and I can't believe that actually grabbed backside of the green.
What a fortunate green flag there for Mr. Barella, and he will be first to putt. Going to be tough to find that 1 meter. You always get your up to 1 meter in away from that out of bounds line, but any little bit you can get helps. Bad news, he still has to attack that pin, which is, about 6 feet from the OB there, Avery?
It's exactly 6 feet from the OB line. A little tighter in the B position than it was the A position yesterday, but it seems a little more attackable as they move that basket to the right and more the center of the green.
So let me ask you this question, Jonathan. It seems to me, and this may just be my, mid-900s rated self-talking here, but every time I see this island, it gets smaller and smaller. Is that my mind, or is this by design?
It doesn't change. It hasn't changed that much. That pin position is definitely pinched in a little bit closer to the position that it's in today. But the thing that really, it looks so much different from the green than it does on the tee. You look at it on the green, and it's like, all right, I got some room to work with. You get up there on the tee, and it's like, oh, man, there's nothing there. You have to play safe. So that's what you have to, back to the courageous part, you have to decide, all right, am I going to lay out to the fat part of the green and take that putt? Or am I going to go for it? And going for it looks a lot more intimidating when you're standing up there on the tee, especially with a few hundred people right over your back shoulder.
I can confirm that. You'll see a little bit later a little packet that Avery and I put together for last year's USDGC, the 19th edition, where we actually played on qualifying Monday just to see how we do. And spoiler alert, Avery does a little bit better than me, but you'll see that in its entirety just a little bit later as we watch this card, which teed off, I believe, at 10:40 a.m. This is your 10:40 card here. Going to get ready to try to capitalize. As Avery said, these are not the scores you want to see across the bottom of your screen. You really need to be under par, especially with Macbeth sitting at 14 down and just getting his day started. Every stroke counts right here, and Barry Schultz is a little chuckle at that pin position. But if there's anybody that knows a pressure putt and can put it in the heart of the chains, it's Barry Schultz.
Yeah, I think when I came to the studio yesterday, they were explaining what happened to Barry's round yesterday. He was sitting at 3 under par coming into this hole, ends up hitting one of the cedar trees short, and then approaching the green, missing 3 times, and laying up for a 9. Went from 3 down to 4 over with a quickness, even a bogey on 18 to finish it up to end a very sour round. Playing great into that point and missing the island 3 times really will change things up and drop you on the leaderboard. So yeah, from 3 down to 4 up with a quickness.
And AB looks to be running this one. Young gun with no fear.
As we mentioned, that OB line fairly close to the backside of that basket. You want to either make this putt or draw a medal. And draw a medal he did.
Oh, just a little bit short there. I feel like the young guns are just never happy when they miss a putt. That's not a putt that anybody expects him to make, but that doesn't change the way he feels about it. Here's Kyle Ekman just outside of Circle 1, looking to pad his Circle 2 stats and grab a birdie to take the box on the card.
Yeah, no matter where you're at in the round, currently at 5 over.
Oh.
I surprised me there. I thought he was definitely going to drain that putt. There's no point in laying up on this hole right now.
Layup City for the Huntington Beach product. And finally, Charlie Goodpasture.
He's got a little better angle to go at it.
Yeah, it's a good point, trying to putt to the side, not facing the OB directly. Good confident putt, good confident stroke, dead center chains.
And that's the side you want to hit, just slightly pro side. And he will happily not take a large number. And, it just makes you able to sleep a little better at night, knowing that you got through that. You kind of dodged the bullet. It's almost like Russian roulette sometimes, it can feel like, because once you throw that one disc, that disc is gone, and you have to go to your backup. And maybe you know your backup well, maybe you don't. But it's just one of those extra little things that you have to deal with on a very demanding but otherwise routine shot.
It's funny, it's one of those holes, no matter what you do on the other 16, obviously you want to play par or better on those, but when coming down to the stretch, this second to the last hole, you feel good about your day if you put it on the green, whether you birdie or par. this is kind of the diabolical change that you really want to make sure you finish the round with. And as you said in the brief kind of explanation of 17, more championships have been won or lost on this hole than any other hole in disc golf.
Right, with players coming to the tee with, a lead, playing well, seemingly in control, and the next thing you know, it's over. And in Barry's round, you mentioned yesterday, 3 down through 16, comes to 17, takes a 9. And it's even for somebody that's accomplished as he is to try and shake that off. I mean, he goes right to 18 and adds another bogey stroke there. It's just, it was an otherwise pretty stellar round, especially opening round. And it's hard, man. It's hard to take your lumps and be able to get right back up to speed.
Sure, and I'm just surprised by a player his caliber and experience and a 3-time USDGC champion that he's taken the numbers on this hole that he has this week. Very surprised by that. You'd be a play where, in my mind and how I played this hole in the past, I'm playing for par each and every time. I'm throwing a very overstable driver, forehand, going the fat side of the green, pitching up, dropping in a 3, and moving on 18.
And we see the next card is just about ready. This is Andrew Nava. Avery, you're familiar with him, and he's going to line up the forehand. I'll ask you about him in just a minute. He's got that one a little bit skied, and it wants to spike.
That's a good spot.
Beautiful weight and a little bit of a backspin. Give me your 30-second synopsis of Andrew Nava's game, and then we're going to jump over to hole 4.
Andrew Nava representing the Northwest out of Oregon, and that's where you're going to learn to throw a forehand more places than not. I had a pretty decent forehand before I moved to Oregon up in the Northwest, but the shots and the way courses are designed up there, they're going to challenge not only your backhand but forehand throw, and he threw a great shot there on 17.
Speaking of, here's a forehand roller from Josh Anton. Clears the Mando.
Wow.
Wow, getting tricky with it. Forehand roller curling around the Mando and getting up there around the trees, maybe around the cedars for a putt for birdie.
Got to look at it. That was an incredible shot.
Getting tricky with it. Got all the skills in the world. Obviously backhand, a decent forehand thrower, but a phenomenal putter, and a really great world-class forehand roller player, as seen right there.
Such a tough Mando on this hole. It is extended. The hole is basically a U-turn, and to keep these guys with these high-speed drivers from just going over the top of some of these trees, no matter how tall they get, you got to put something like this out there and challenge a different kind of shot in their bag. Zach Melton here, who would normally have a great advantage with that skip flare to the right, he is tucked a little bit.
Being a lefty just puts it up there in the center cut, not trying to force too much with those Mando trees and just the cathedral of cedars that surround this basket. It's not a gimme. It's no gimme on this for the birdie 3 unless you're in prime position, which looks like Conrad may be in a really good position. Try to throw a forehand blade skip, trying to get to finish really hard to the right, and if you can get circle's edge, pretty ideal spot.
Clean release. Needs a hop. And that's in Conrad's range. It's probably not as close as you want it to be.
He should have a good look at it from there.
And this is one of the holes that I know I always like to point out whenever we do our video coverage, live coverage, whatever it is. Give a shout out to Mr. Rock Searle, who for so many years would take your picture if you were fortunate enough and skilled enough to get that birdie. He's back. We're so happy to have him back. And I know he means quite a bit, as many of the volunteers do, many of our Golden Rake winners, part of that team we were talking about earlier. Spotting, helping, waving flags, doing everything they can.
I'll tell you, that was definitely one of the goals throughout the round early on, is to get that birdie on 4, not only increase your score and have a better score throughout the round, but to get that photo with Rock. Absolutely a goal.
And here's Paul Macbeth, and JP, we expect him to be in the circle here.
I think so. I mean, that's a position right there.
That's a good looking disc in his hand right there too.
Oh yeah, well played.
Just the control on the forehand, and this is something that I've noticed as the game has gone on, as these players have become more and more talented. It's not just attack with the right release, attack with the right speed. It's what can I get that disc to do? How can I get it to check right, roll left, back it up as if it were a wedge? With these different speed and different stability drivers, it's just incredibly impressive the amount of control that these players have.
Oh yeah, excellent touch, no doubt about it. I'll be curious to see what kind of looks they have at the putts. I mean, you can be a little more aggressive, even if you're on the high side of this pin, just with the Lelands are so thick behind it. you'd have to really blaze past it and not hit anything to not still have a decent and makeable putt coming back. So even though they're not inside the ring of trees, I think they can still put some pretty aggressive bids on these.
And most definitely, Avery, you have played this tournament so many times back when, guys like yourself would just go right over the top. About when did that stop for you and you had to kind of push forward first?
I'm glad you mentioned that, for the fact this hole has evolved throughout the years and changed with OB lines in certain areas of the fairway. And that second shot used to be actually a shot over the top, either a big spike hyzer, knife hyzer across. I remember last throwing that shot around 2008, 2009, maybe going over the top for that second shot. Now it's around the Mando skip shot forehand to get this look at the basket. So the taller those cedars got definitely changed, and maybe the evolution of this hole really kind of happened about 8 years ago.
2009, a year you're very familiar with. And here we look at James Conrad. Beautiful step putt there. And he's a player who you can put that kind of danger. If you go too far there, you have a putt from the knee, kind of like we saw Nico on hole 1 there. But he's a player that comes from the woods. He's not scared of that.
Unlike most of us, they're not worried about the comeback.
Yeah, one of the biggest things that separates us versus them. That comebacker, no problem. Gives you so much confidence to run it.
And I'm fairly confident he could play the whole round with that purple putter.
If you bet me, I would not take that bet. Let's put it that way. And as we talked about going to a knee, here is Josh.
Inside the circle
No
from
problem.
the knee.
No problem. I mean, he just makes it look so easy. You can
Casual.
contort him into any position you want, and he's probably going to make the putt. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on that? He went 14 for 14 inside circle 1, 4 for 4 in circle 2, 100% putting yesterday's round.
It's incredible.
And Paul Macbeth also getting the birdie. I would expect this makes a star frame. And you know what? Let's roll that thing back one more time. I want to see James Conrad's putt. Lines it up. Stares it down. Confident. Great follow through there, Avery.
Good extension of the basket. You see his body and his arm just reaching for the chains the entire way. Just great directional putt. Good height, good power, and there was never a doubt that was not going in the chains.
Something you know very well from years of instruction on the internet, in person, all around the world. People have taken lessons from you. Hold that follow through on that putt.
Good extension with the arm. It's really the setup. It's an inline putt and at a different stance, but with his just good length and good power, he's displayed that throughout the season as being one of the top players on tour.
And our leaderboard here getting a little stacked so far this afternoon. We can't even show you 10 because half the leaderboard is tied for 5th.
Boy, Jeremy moving up 24 spots.
He's getting back 24 of those 30 that he gave away on hole 17. And how about a guy like Kevin Jones? What a season he's having. Just kind of made his debut at this event last year. Not many people knew who he was outside of the region, and all of a sudden he is on the national and international spotlight. He's 4 down through 7.
Yeah, last year, the name kept flying around to the point where we were thinking about making a T-shirt because everybody was saying, who is Kevin Jones? I was like, man, we need to bust out some Who is Kevin Jones T-shirts for the final day because we'd heard it asked so many times. Well, everybody knows who Kevin Jones is now.
Absolutely. Being a distance thrower through and through, forehand, backhand, great power off the tee, but he's a great putter as well and super confident. Last year getting that debut, second round lead card, I think it did a lot for him as a player going into the offseason, thinking about that. Now coming out this year, had some great top finishes, had a couple tough losses throughout the middle of the season, and now he's starting to win. And I've always said it with him and personally to him was you got to learn how to lose before you can learn how to win, and he's finding that out as a player these days.
All right. As Jonathan, I know you have so much to do this weekend and so much golf to see. Well done. All the efforts for this have just been phenomenal. The 20th anniversary. Before we let you go out of here, I won't ask you who you think is going to win. And that might be a little unfair to put you on the spot there, but let me ask you this. Predict the score. The winner of the 20th USDGC will finish at blank under par.
That's a good question.
No worries. Just $1 million on the line.
30.
30. You heard it here first, folks. That means our leaderboard is just about halfway to the finish. We'll see if these scoring conditions hold up for the rest of the weekend. Mr. Poole, we want to thank you so much for stopping by the set. Come by anytime.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having us.
Thanks, JP.
And as we stand down for just a minute, we're going to talk about one of those things we shot last year, Avery. We talked about the team, we talked about the volunteers, and how important they are. They're the heartbeat of this event, and they're the focus of this episode of Beyond the Ropes, shot last year right here in Rock Hill. The USDGC is my favorite event of the year, and this video series is designed to show you some of the reasons why. I'm Jamie Thomas, and I'm inviting you to come along with me and explore this tournament beyond the ropes. Can you sort of speak to the culture of volunteerism at this event?
Well, it's for sure what makes the difference. Sometimes we refer to our volunteer base as the secret sauce. That's kind of the magic, you know. But somebody's got to put the ingredients in the secret sauce. And there's some magic in finding people, connecting with people who are as passionate about disc golf as we are.
My name is Paul Berge. I'm one of the event managers and the volunteer coordinator for the United States Disc Golf Championship.
Paul began volunteering at the USDGC back in 2002. 3 years later, he was tagged to run the volunteer program and has been at the helm of that project ever since.
Our staff is actually quite big. We probably have 50 to 60 volunteers coming in through the week for course prep, and then another 40 of the Innova staff that really help manage and glue this whole operation together.
One of those Innova staffers has been working at the USDGC since the very beginning. In fact, if you've seen our coverage of the tournament, you may recognize his voice as the man who calls out the players' names before they tee off on hole 1.
Teeing off first, representing North Carolina, defending United States champion, Jeremy Colling. My name is Andy Green. I am the official starter for the United States Disc Golf Championship and have done so since the very first year in '99. After watching the '97 Worlds Final 9 here at Winthrop, Final Foursome had their names announced in front of the crowd, the cheers and all that. We thought, why not do that for every round of the tournament? So I volunteered to try that out. So here we are 18 years later, and you're still stuck with me here on hole 1.
The first year I was here, when you came out, you could come out that day and they were begging for volunteers.
That's Bill Jacobson. Aside from his claim to fame as the tournament director of the 2012 World Championships in nearby Charlotte, he's also been a volunteer at this event every year since the beginning.
I just showed up and they said, hey, would you spot for us here? Would you spot? And so I did. And then we've just grown and grown and grown and grown, and now it's a huge undertaking to staff this huge event.
You know, when you have leadership in all those areas and people that want to help, they have a passion to help, gravitate towards that leadership, you know, you see things develop and just happen organically in a way that you didn't even think of, but they just happen because you put people in position to succeed. Doing that year after year after year, I mean, it just grows. It just happens when the family comes together.
The volunteer culture here is very unique. It's more of a family atmosphere.
It's like nothing I've ever seen. There's many folks that have been coming out here for many years, a lot of them double-digit years. They plan their vacations, their time away from their family, just to be here and be part of this special event.
It's really great to see the folks that come down here every year, and you've known people down here forever. I mean, I can't be down here but just a couple minutes and I'm hugging people, and hey, it's great to see you. And then, you know, we love to see the new folks come in, and you know, it's just we're one big happy family.
The culture is what I would say a family atmosphere. I love giving hugs when I see them, ask about their year. One of the things I really enjoy about the USDGC.
Family is the word I hear over and over again, and I don't want to dilute the meaning of the word, but you know, how are these people a family, and how did they kind of come together like this?
The foundation is set because we all share a passion for the same thing. We love disc golf. We love the game. We love the community. We want to give back. I mean, this is my extended family. You know, I mean, when I'm not with my immediate family, I'm with these guys, and It's such a super special thing to be a part of.
The crossroads of this special thing is undoubtedly the hospitality area, a place where players, volunteers, staff, and even media personnel alike can all sit down, have a hot meal, a cold drink, and revel in fellowship.
Hi, I'm Chuckster Connolly with Spike Heiser, helping with player hospitality at the United States Disc Golf Championship. Been doing it for about 10 years now. I don't do anything like this any other time during the year. I don't cater professionally. A lot of people think I have my own restaurant or catering business. It's nothing like that. It's just passion and love for me and the crew behind me. Sitting back here, so often I'll see a player come in from the round and just totally devastated. This course has chewed them up, spit them out, and then stepped on them to finish up the day. And we give them some food, we talk with them a little bit, and within 5, 10, 15 minutes, they're smiling, laughing, and having a good time. And to be able to do that for a player who has so much on the line, their pride, their dreams of being a United States champion, to see them forget about the disappointment and still be able to enjoy the experience, you know, I think that's probably the biggest reward.
The players, however, are not the only ones rewarded at this event.
Jonathan Poole came up with the Golden Rake idea, and this is really the Hall of Fame of volunteers.
I guess before we get to this year's winner, I want to quickly run through the previous winners. This event, the award began in 2002. Sam Covington, and if you guys are here, just come on up, please. I know some of you are not.
What's something that you wish more people kind of knew that hasn't been, the story that hasn't been told yet?
In 2003 and 2004, it's Brian Mace.
You have to be here. If you've not ever been here, you just don't know. And this place it's just different here because there's so many more things happening.
2006, Rock and Pat Searle. 2007, Billy Crump.
I remember when I first came on board and Rock Searle was here. And you know, he was just kind of walking around with the pride of being involved with so long. And you know, after you come back for a few more years, it's almost like you're going to see that uncle that lives across the country, or you know, your old drinking buddy from high school.
2008, Lisa McDaniel and Bill Jacobson.
Sometimes I'm out here early in the morning, one of the first ones out, and I'll come back and I'll go down and look across the lake, and just the beauty of it down here and the camaraderie of the people. It's just a great time of year. I would never miss it.
In 2012, Terry Roddy. 2013, Sam Nicholson and Stan McDaniel.
I mean, I would just encourage you to come just once. If it's this year, next year, at some point, you know, I think it'll inspire you as a disc golfer. I think it'll inspire you as a promoter. I think it'll inspire you as a fan.
2016, I suppose he's the defending rake winner, Nate Lane. And I'm going to get right to the point because I can't wait to see this guy's reaction. But he's been on board for many years. Just does a ton of work, goes about his business, whatever needs to be done. You give him a list, he knocks it out, he works hard. He does everything you could ever ask and with the right attitude. You know, so embodies this award like you wouldn't believe. But if you would, please give it up for this year's Golden Rake winner, Tom Usselman.
I mean, I want people to come here and be so glad that they did. We want to put our volunteers in a position where, sure, they're working and contributing, but I want them to be happy, you know? And I think taking that approach, you've got people that take a week off. They plan their vacations so they can come give a week or 2 or 3. There's a reason why that happens, and I don't think that's fully going to resonate with you until you set foot on these grounds during championship week.
And finally, I asked these USDGC stalwarts what it's like to sit on the couch when it's all said and done and reflect upon their experience.
There's so many people here that do so many things to make this event happen, and I think it's just neat to be able to do some small part of it to you know, contribute to such an amazing feat in our world of disc golf.
Accomplishment is what comes to mind. It's another year under the belt.
It's a big sigh. It's like, wow, we did it again. And then you start thinking again and going, man, I can't wait till next year.
The fact that when people come here to work on this event and volunteer, they truly come here with a paid mentality, like they're getting $50,000 a year to do what they're doing. And with that kind of respect and that kind of commitment to this event, you know, how else can it not feel like a family?
Accomplishment is what I like to say.
I want them to hear it on hole 5 over there on the tee. 1, 2, 3. Team! That's what I like.
And that is the heartbeat, the heart and soul of this tournament is the volunteer staff. Once again, like I said, early and often, we want to thank them. And this, back to the action. Leaderboard. We're sitting here, hole 17 live. If you're just joining us, we are on YouTube and Facebook via the InnovaDisc channel. So please tell your friends, please like, follow, subscribe, and all of that good jazz. All right, we are going to head right out to hole 5 as we see a whole host of new names peeking into that top 10. Zach Melton, a little bit of a lefty advantage on this 1,000-footer. This is one of the first ones where you really kind of shake in your boots, Avery. You want to have gotten off to a strong start.
This hole lays out really well for a left-handed thrower, playing away from the water with these left-handed hyzer shots. Throwing his third shot on the par 5, having a cross across the water, looking at about maybe 375 feet, so he can hang it out there way left, bring it back to the basket. Shouldn't have any fear on the shot, especially from a top world-class player like himself.
Puts a move on that hyzer.
Overplaying it a little bit. Doesn't want to come up short. That is the good mistake to make, to play it a little longer, playing a backside green and putting back. Looks to be about circle's edge.
Hey, he's putting away from the water, which is important. And now when you're back as far away from the water as Paul Macbeth is here, this is where you really have to make the decision. But it seems that he's far enough up the fairway to attack it with the forehand. We'll see right here.
Great backhand, obviously, and a tremendous forehand. Sticks it on the green. Currently 3 down through the first 4 holes. Missing hole number 2, but right on pace with where he was yesterday. Sticking the third shot on the par 5, hole 5.
James Conrad, what'd you say, 375 feet? So this is probably a putter yet again?
I think he went tee shot putter, second shot putter, third shot purple AVR putter across the water here. No fear with this disc. Being a longer thrower, he can throw a shorter range, more controllable, accurate disc, whereas other players might be using a higher speed driver or mid-range in this situation.
We'd expect him to go straight at the basket here, a direct line. Let's see how he attacks.
Got the height, doesn't have the angle. Oh, and splash down left side, short, out of bounds, getting the red flag. Not the image you want to see on this hole or nor any other hole on the Winthrop Gold course.
When they point that red flag back at you, it means you go back to where you were. It did not cross the grass at any point, so not only does he lose one of his valuable putters, but he's going to have to mark his lie right here and do the same shot all over again.
The cool thing about it is, not that he threw a B, but he's got probably a whole bag full of those purple JC Pro AVRs as he pulls out a backup. Hopefully this flies similar to the one he just lost, but being a top professional, he knows how these fly.
And hey, you can always go right down the road to Innova East and grab a stack of them if he needs them.
And his 4th shot.
That looks to be a good correction. Puts a little bit of ante on it. 4 meters?
Yeah, correct me on that. It was actually his 5th shot with a OB lie, so that's his 5th shot onto the green, going to be dropping bogey 6.
And as we work our way, let the guys walk right around that corner on one of the longest holes on the course, kind of depending on where hole 13's pin is from year to year, but playing over 1,000 feet, no joke. Early in the round, the heat is up, the wind is down. It's attackable, but it's really difficult.
Yeah, it's one of those holes you can ask any professional player on the tour what their favorite hole is, and many of them will say hole number 5, Winthrop Gold Course. And if you're going to make a Dream 18, that is by far my favorite number 5 anywhere in the world.
Oh, there you go. A Dream 18. That's something we got to source out to everybody. If you guys could put together a hole from all of your favorite courses, would you put hole 5 at Winthrop in there? Especially with the dock. I mean, this is another hole where a lot of changes throughout the years have happened. You used to kind of tee up by the road where the players drive in to park. Now they built this big, beautiful dock right at the edge of the lake. Not only does it make it longer, but you just have to carry even more water straight off the tee to get to safe.
Yeah, playing over just over 1,000 feet, par 5, very difficult hole in every position, and having that tee shot back on that dock, I think it made it so much more of a better hole. You go a little more aggressive on the tee shot. Second shot, obviously for placement and position, and third shot across the water again. Excellently designed hole, and then that green with that basket perched against the water with the fountains in the backdrop. It doesn't get any more pretty than that.
And as you can see, this angle here, the cameraman operating this is actually just standing to our left, so bringing in some lens power here to watch Zach Melton's lefty putt. As I saw him chatting with Macbeth just a minute ago, they look loose. They look loose and ready to rumble.
You don't want to be too tense on this course. That's when it can kind of strike and bite you a little bit. You want to be relaxed. You want to be cool. You want to be comfortable. It's shot for shot, hole for hole. And you get too tense out here, that's when you start making mistakes. So staying loose, staying comfortable, having good conversation with your card mates, that'll keep you in that mindset and keep you focused and patient.
Zach Melton just inside circle 1 for birdie.
Right off the front. Yeah, it seemed like he kind of short-armed it or didn't follow through all the way on the extension, and the result is off the front of the rim and out.
It's a heartbreaker when you work so hard to get that birdie opportunity on this long hole. And here's a guy, Paul Macbeth, needs no introduction, also looking for his birdie.
Seen a little wind on the flag, not too much. I've seen it worse, but a little breeze out here. Makes a correction, leaves it pro side, high right side, drains it for the birdie on hole number 5.
4 down through 5. He'll move on to what's known as the beach. James Conrad here. This is to kind of put a tourniquet on it and just take a bogey. All things considered, that's not too bad. And Josh Anton. He's 1,000 for 1,000 on putts from that distance. Pretty good lead card there. That's going to be 3 birdies and a bogey. And, you know, knocking on the door. How about Nico LaCastro, Emerson Keith, and Nathan Queen making their way into double digits under par? As we are, once again, Rock Hill, South Carolina. Beautiful afternoon. Summer is hanging around. It's not quite fall here yet, folks. And this is, what an opportunity, what a treat to be here with you guys at the 20th USDGC. We're so happy you could join us here on Hole 17 Live. If you are just joining us, please tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. We want them all in here. Tell them Innovadis, Facebook, and YouTube. Follow along on Instagram as well for some behind-the-scenes content. We're going to be sitting here all afternoon. Once again, I'm Avery. I'm not Avery. I'm Jamie. That's Avery Jenkins.
Alter ego.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look, if my alter ego can throw as far as you, then I'm not complaining whatsoever.
And you're my lefty counterpart, so.
Perfect. You know, we got the yin and the yang. It's all together. The sweet and the sour. Let's take a look at this leaderboard. Macbeth, 17 down on that tear. If he keeps this pace up, Jonathan Poole's 30 under prediction for the leader is just, it's going to be a little too shallow of the depths he's going to get to.
I was actually surprised in the underbid on that. Wow, because we've seen in the past, we've seen another player out there shooting 12, 13, 14 first round, and maybe stalling a bit, maybe second, third round only shooting like 4 or 5, where they end up finishing about 30, 32 under. The pace that Paul Macbeth is on right now, I think is going to shatter that prediction by JP.
And I'm trying to remember off the top of my head, I don't have the stats in front of me, but I feel like when Paul won, he was right around the 40 mark when he got his last title. So here he is lining up the hyzer on the hole known as the beach. And that's an aggressive line.
Gets the green flag, taking a little inside, tight left side, catching one of those bigger trees, but staying inbounds. I had a chance to walk this fairway yesterday, and man, this hole has changed every single year, just with the growth of these trees on the right side, right off the tee. Used to be a huge hyzer around the outside of those and spike it into the sand on the beach. And now with the growth of those trees and just those bigger trees down toward the basket, it's a real low line shot, maybe a skip shot. I saw a few fine shots yesterday by Rico and Ulibarri, hanging it out to the right side low and then skipping it back late onto the sand. So you see that's the shot of choice by a lot of the players throwing backhand on this hole.
Yeah, Zach Melton looked to not even attack that hole right there, and as a lefty, I don't blame him whatsoever. Conrad, driver, looks like he's going to try to get one back. He has not parred yet this round.
So not a typically a longer hole, but it's a good length hole, 371 feet, 113 meters, and it looks to be throwing a high-speed driver, throwing it straight. It's definitely breaking a little earlier than he wanted to, catching high side branches, knocking down inbounds with the green flag.
Something that's different on this hole from years past, stroke and distance. And talk about that, Avery. Stroke and distance is such a brutal, not only physically, you don't advance your disc, but mentally, you just messed up a shot, and you have to turn around and throw basically, if not exactly, the same shot that you just failed on.
And it's your third shot, not your second shot. You're taking that penalty and rethrowing from that lie. You're giving with 2 strokes back to your card or the entire field. So not the position you want to be in, and you want to keep and avoid that situation at all costs. And the name of the game here at Winthrop Gold, keep it in bounds. If you stay in bounds throughout the round, you're going to score well. You're going to get your birdies. Everybody gets their birdies out here if they're playing the risk-reward game properly, but keep it in bounds is the name of the game.
All right, I'm going to challenge you here. Let's put you on the spot.
Please.
You've played this many times, as we've said already in this broadcast. Give me a story of the worst stroke and distance penalty that you took that you can think of.
Wow. Stroke and distance, we actually had 1 year in 2010 where they actually tried the whole concept of stroke and distance not only on one hole, but on every hole throughout the entire course, all 18 holes, where any shot that went out of bounds, you're playing back to the tee pad or the previous lie. And I'm not going to, bring it back to one hole specifically, but I remember a lot of players get penalized that year, and it was only 1 year that rule lasted. And I'm glad they made the change back to the traditional rules that we play. You go out of bounds and you take it from a meter from where you're last inbounds. Tough course to play regardless of the OB rules, but that stroke and distance was brutal that year.
And James Conrad, a nice little tree kick here, and he takes a lot of the water out of the equation. He could almost run this.
A valiant bid. Nice. Just trying to put it on the sand, trying to give it a bid, trying to give it a run. Definitely had a good backstop. Same here with Macbeth. He can run this pretty aggressive and know that even if he does go past the basket, it's going to be fairly close.
It's almost like he planned this. Let's see if Paul can convert here on what would be a very improbable birdie.
Look at about 75, 80 feet across the water. Good line, just didn't have the height. And you asked me about a question that, I'm a pro golfer. I have a very short-term memory, and trying to think about a hole that I played bad on. You can ask me about holes I played good on, and I'll remember that. But holes I played bad on, I tend to forget very, very quickly.
Quarterback style.
Right.
Go on to the next thing.
Right.
I'll make that one up to you. We'll ask you about a hero play or two that you've had over your years a little bit later. And once again, Zach Melton, an improbable birdie, but he's properly handed to attack it.
Yeah, great angle to the green here, putting cross and in the same direction alongside the water. Can run it a little more aggressive. High side, left side chain, tickle, drops right next to the basket. Man, he made his way halfway to the basket by the time he ran that putt down.
That would have gotten some excitement out of the gallery there. And it's hot enough. He's going to run like that. He's going to be tired by the end of it. That hair's got to weigh a handful of pounds and just make you wear out that much quicker. So you can see one of our camera operators, Essa Roki. Shout out to Essa and Hugo for roving around the course with these guys. And Josh Anton going to the drop zone, the recipient of that red flag OB indicator earlier. And he's got to be careful here. He could save the 3P or he could be putting for 5 from the same spot.
I would have actually been betting on that he makes it. That's the first putt that I've seen him miss or seen on the stat card that he's missed the entire tournament.
That's scary. And Macbeth doesn't get worried about things like this. He's got a pedigree of his own, but a lesser player would be worried if that's the first time that Josh Anton missed a putt.
And to confirm, that actually was the first time he missed.
Conrad to clean up his par on the beach.
Precarious stance there. 1 foot in the sand, 1 foot up on top of the ledge. Knocks down the 3.
He basically had his knee on the sand there, too. Long limb. Seemed to be the prototype. Macbeth will also clean up a 3, and it's kind of funny. Macbeth, built like a baseball player, no doubt. Very good shortstop, as his grandpa told me a couple years back when we were filming some behind-the-scenes stuff with him back in his hometown. But the prototype these days seems to be tall, lanky, skinny. Simon Lizotte, Eagle McMahon, Calvin Heimberg, these kind of guys. That's the body type that's had a lot of success on tour lately with their ability to sling it. But you know what? Doesn't really matter what you look like or how you throw it. Just matters what you do, what is on the scorecard. There's an old commentator friend of ours, how about Billy Crump, used to say, ain't no pictures on the scorecard.
It's a beautiful phrase, beautiful saying for sure. Talking about some of the scores coming in, we have our 2013 United States Disc Golf Champion, Stephen Brinster, with 5 down through 8 holes. Definitely making a move, tied for 5th with Nico, Emerson Keith, Kevin Jones. There's a bunch of people tied for 5th. This early in the tournament, the score's going to be very close.
We've talked about this. We've mentioned a handful of people who have experience, who have a title already under their belt. But we've also talked about how difficult the course is. So kind of bring those thoughts together. Does it make it easier to come out and get it done the second time? Is it one of those where once you pop that and you get that first title, is it a little easier or is it still just as difficult?
Typically on most tournaments when you're coming back to repeat as a champion, it makes it a little easier to get that edge off, get that monkey off your back and go there and repeat a second or a third time. For USDGC, I don't think it's the case. It's a new monster each and every year. This course evolves and changes all the time. And I think as a player, it's going to be different every time. It's going to be a different field, a different feel, different weather conditions sometimes, different factors that contribute to this. And I think it's a fresh tournament each and every time for even repeat champions trying to get that second or third title here. They're working just as hard or harder if they're going to try to repeat here at this Winthrop Gold course.
All right, let me put this one to you real quick. Harder to repeat. U.S. champion, world champion.
There's pressure in both cases. They're top major events, a U.S. title and a world title. World title on the rotation. It's always going to be a different venue, different courses, different skill sets sometimes depending on the difficulty and challenge of those courses. But the USDGC at the Winthrop Gold each and every time, each and every year. And I'm going to say they're equivalent. Trying to repeat as a world champion or U.S. champion, it's hard to repeat regardless just because the field and the quality of the players out here, they all want it just about as bad as anybody else does.
And we are back with our leader card here on hole 7, a third of the way through their round in the heat of the day. Paul Macbeth still maintaining his lead, 3 strokes over Josh, 4 over Zach, and 6 over James. Triple Mando has been aced. We'll see. Birdie's pretty good here, but at the same time, this is just another one of those where if you don't make that triple Mando, or at least make contact with that bamboo wall, you could easily be staring down a bogey. And I think a lot of these players think of this, instead of groups of 6, it's the front 7 that you really want to score on.
It's the lake holes. It's the ones along the edge that you're trying to birdie early and often. This hole, it's very unique. Like you're talking about making that corridor, making through the triple Mando. That is the main objective. If you do get down there far enough where you're close to the basket, obviously that's the main goal. But you see this hole ace quite a bit for the fact they're trying to make the triple Mando, trying to put a good move on it, put it on a line, put a good height on it. And if it does hit, like you saw Austin Turner last year knock down the ace and make Sports Center, this is the shot you want to throw. You want to put it through the gap and see what happens. And right there, Paul Macbeth going mid-range, rock, nestling it to the base of the basket. That is the shot you want to throw. You want to play aggressive. You don't want to bring in the wall. You don't want to have a kick to the right or left that could bring bogey into the mix, into the equation. And I think it lays out really fair for both the righty and the lefty on this type of par 3.
Straight shot down a hill. Paul Macbeth will be putting. Zach Melton will look to follow suit.
Got the height and through the gate on the dance floor.
the OB just a little more extended on that right side. So if you wanted to, if you didn't allow us to call it a neutral hole and you had to say advantage, maybe a slight lefty advantage, you get a little more leeway off the back right side of that green.
And you'd be correct by saying that.
James Conrad, once again, purple putter. Let's see what he does.
I'm glad these tee pads are flush to the ground, giving him enough room to run up.
He likes it. As he should.
Wow, that baby's leaning on the pole.
Park job. I would say don't hit your head, but for Conrad's more like don't hit your knee. That basket's a little low. Josh Anton here. This putter is probably older than most of you watching this broadcast.
Representing Rio Linda, California, a top player for over a decade. He was my competitor in the 2009 Worlds. We faced off in a sudden death playoff, and you know, fantastic player all around. We mentioned the backhand, the forehand, and the putt. But look at this accuracy, putting it right through the gates. Lead card making this hole look really easy.
And that's the thing, you just have to commit to this shot. You have to spin the disc. Literally, if you limp wrist it a little bit, you fade off left or right, or if you overcook it, you do the opposite, and then all of a sudden you're hoping for some kind of miracle, just a look to get inside that gate. But lead card making easy work of it. We'll see if they can star frame themselves on their way to a handful of par fours, which will precede that hole. And as I'm looking over at the UDisc stats, Steve Brinster's still hanging around in 5th. Nicola Castro tied for 5th as well, a couple of former U.S. champions. And how about, we were talking about Kevin Jones, the emergence of a guy like Emerson Keith out of Texas, plays for Dynamic Discs. He's found his way onto some coverage this year on some of the Pro Tour events and played really, really solid. 6 down yesterday, 4 down so far today. Just, it doesn't matter. And right behind him, Kevin Jones and Greg Barsby rounding out pretty much that top 10. We'll join these guys right here again as the lead card is going to putt. Look to do that all too difficult star frame on Winthrop Gold.
Yeah, it's no surprise to me. They're on a lead card for a reason. They're top world-class players and a 285-foot downhill hole through the gates, presenting no challenge for these guys with good straight putters to mid-range shots, making the green. And first to putt here, Zach Milton from Tennessee, wearing that volunteer orange, about to knock down a birdie on hole number 7. I'm already preemptive giving him that birdie.
We'll see. Ooh, the commentator jinx early. It's all right, private stream. Only the bosses see this today, so it's all good. We won't be hired back next year, but it's all right. We had a good run, Avery. It's all good.
It's been fun, Jamie. Thanks for having me.
Hey, we appreciate the opportunity.
I'm gonna do my best to avoid that for broadcast to come.
It's okay. Just do it when Josh is putting, because you know he's not gonna miss. And Paul Macbeth cleaning up. Zach left out of the birdie party. Or as our fellow commentators and U.S. champs, Sexton and Coling, like to say, Birdie Fest, selling some tickets. See, that's the other thing I'm going to do. You can do the commentator razz just a little bit. I'm going to steal all of the other hit phrases from the commentators that came both before and after us.
I look forward to it.
Yeah,
I can't wait to hear those.
We'll
You got a whole lineup of those.
That way, hey, if you're a super fan of disc golf, listen in. See if you can pick out some of your other favorite commentators and all their phrases that I'm going to steal. Leaderboard shaken up just a little bit. Welcome to the double-digit party. We just talked about Emerson Keith, 10 down, along with Steve Brinster. And Kevin Jones moves to 11. He is in striking distance of that lead card. Looks like he's out on hole 11. And we are on hole 17 live, literally right here. Play to the B-pin. Turnover backhand coming up.
Here we got Luis Neva. His brother's playing in the field as well, representing the Northwest, coming out of Oregon. Going backhand turnover with the height and the speed, and catching backside ledge, water's edge, and staying safe. Ken Rollins, our spotter on 17 for the past decade or so. That's his spot. He loves working the flags, the red and green. Hopefully seeing more green this weekend than most.
And that's the second disc that we've seen challenge the edge of that water and actually get the stick. Here's Robert McCall, Mr. Robert with the good hair. He said that if he aced this hole, he's going to come jump on this broadcast booth and take over. So let's see if we can get number 4 in the can. He struggled a little bit with this hole yesterday, and he's one of our player/media friends. Let's see him get on the screen here.
So had a little trouble yesterday on this shot. Looking for him to capitalize and make the adjustment.
Good height.
Good speed.
Slow. Got it. No
Stuck
problem.
It. Wasn't an ace. I was looking forward to the ace. I was looking for the run to the jump and on the stage.
He's known as a handsome human, though, so if he knocks down this birdie putt, I'm all right if he jumps up here and says hi. We'll see. Back to the GoPro angle. Who are we looking at here?
Hendel, representing St. Thomas, Ontario, Canada. One of the best players in Canada at the moment. Solid player all around. Fantastic putter. Let's see a little backhand turnover shot. Doesn't fully commit to it, kind of fading out to the left side of the green and sticks it. Good speed control with the putter.
Yeah, it looked to be a little more of an overstable putter or maybe just a flatter release than we've seen. But that's going to net him probably the best look of his group as he enjoys 2-stroke lead on his card, 2 or 3-stroke lead on his card, just trying to get under par for the rest of the round. And that's so hard to do sitting on 17, 1 over. You know, you would love to go birdie and just have that negative next to the number next to your name. But as we've talked about already, such a tall order.
Yeah, that's what you're trying to fight. You're really trying to come in at even or below par. That is a background goal for a lot of people, and this is your last chance to really make that move. You know, if you're sitting a couple over, this is where you're putting the pressure on a little more to get that birdie on 17 and possibly 18 to finish up kind of average day with a par and a birdie. But you really don't want to force too much because this is kind of where you can make your ground here. If you can hang in here through the second round, you're setting yourself up for a good Friday and Saturday to come.
And once again, we've said it once, we'll say it again. Thanks to Ken Rollins and all the spotters for hanging out and calling everybody safe. And uh-oh, we might have cut in a little late to Robert. I don't like that he's looking over the edge like that. Hopefully he's looking at birdie here, but our UDisc Live stats will be able to help us out with that as we scroll down and look for the players sitting right around even par.
No, he was well in bounds. You can see backside green. His disc definitely got to the ground. Good speed and control and caught the backside of the green.
Robert McCall staring at an unusually oriented death putt. Full focus.
And you can see in the offhand, he had his putter in his left hand, almost like he's practicing the backyard. He's kind of feeling that comfortability of just practice. And you see a lot of players do that, like a Patrick Brown or a Johnny McRae, with putters in the left hand and the offhand as they're putting.
And this putt right here is just the ultimate test of your confidence.
Yeah, putting back toward the OB, give it the height and knock it down dead center.
He loves it. Well earned. Well earned right there by Luis Nava. And that should be, we missed Evan Frederick, but I guess he's going to be the closest. How about Martin Hendel?
Yeah, like I said, you're going to feel good hitting this putt right here. You're trying to knock down the birdie on 17. This is the challenge that awaits you at the end of every round. So knocking down a birdie here, it's going to make it feel real good.
Just a little low-released spin on that. A very interesting style, kind of an old-school style, that snake bite putt that Dave Dunapace used to teach.
Interesting thought. Yeah, he has a real low to high putt, nose up, carrying from the bottom of the basket. As we see Devin Frederick missing a short putt there, about 15, 18 feet. Man, it's tough to watch. You know, really got to put it in the basket on the island green of 17.
And Robert McCall cleaning up there, wandering over to hole 18 to complete his round just in time for some refreshment. Classy gentleman there thanking the spotters.
Yeah, I was saying the same thing. Good camaraderie out here. You want to thank your players, your fellow competitors, but also the spotters and the staff that make this event happen each and every year.
What a wonderful game we all play, the sport of disc golf. And let's bring in, for the first time in this broadcast, let's bring in our field reporter, Hannah Macbeth, who's standing by with a couple of fans who are here spectating for the week.
So we're here on hole 7, on hole 7's green, and I've got 2 fans with me. One is a fresh beginner fan, and the other one is a seasoned veteran here at USDGC. What are your names and where are you guys from?
I'm Daniel Throwkill from Mount Ulla, North Carolina.
I'm Carly Airwood from Union Mills, North Carolina.
And you guys are dating?
Yes.
That's so sweet. Awesome. So you've never played disc golf before, is that right?
I've tried. He's tried to get me into it. I can't quite get the hang of it, so I'm still watching.
Okay, well, you're at a really great place to keep watching. So I just encourage you, keep watching, okay? Especially if you're following the leader card. And what about you? You've been playing disc golf for a while?
Been playing for about a year and a half, and so I've pretty much been not addicted to it, but really loved it ever since then. So, you know, it's just kind of like that.
Yeah, I understand. It's just kind of like that.
It gets you. It gets you in the feels for all that.
Yes, and this is your, how many USDGCs have you spectated now?
This is the first one, and it's been great so far. It's been great. Yeah, it's kind of hot, but it's good.
Yeah, for October. And you drove how far to get here?
Not a huge distance, about 50 miles, I'd say, 60 miles, something like that. So.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you guys here. Nice to meet you. Over to you guys in the booth.
Well, thanks, Hannah, for catching up, and welcome fans from all over the country. No matter how much or how little disc golf experience you have, we hope that you'll come out and check out the United States Disc Golf Championship. If you don't know where to go, just Google Winthrop University. We're right here all weekend, just right on the edge of the lake. And back to hole 17 live. Who are we looking at here, Avery?
Well, definitely looking at a forehand.
Looks like Shane Seal to me out of Alabama. And he is circle's edge from the B-Pen. And I know you know who this guy is right here, Simon Lazat, who has had somewhat of a tough tournament. And he slides just over the hay bales very nicely. He'll want to capitalize there and get to even par. Speaking of even par, Steve Rico is right there, and Chris Dickerson, the other man on that card, who seems to be the only one really making a move on that second day. Are you surprised by how Simon and Stevie Rico, 2 very experienced players, are faring?
Yeah, I'm definitely surprised to see where Rico and Simon are. With the experience out here, with the overall performance of both these players, they're top world-class players, and I can't believe they're sitting around 1 over or even. Chris Dickerson definitely taking the lead. I'm surprised they're not trying to feed off that energy and trying to keep pace with him. And we talked with Simon earlier today, and we guaranteed he was going to shoot a better round today. I'm glad he made the island. There's still a chance he can birdie 18, and to make our prediction correct, if he shoots, even or better, actually a better round for him. So it's tough, man. It's a different kind of monster, and there's certain kind of players that line up with their skill set that can attack and play a course like this very well, and Chris Dickerson obviously showcasing those skills out here with good placement shots, good mental game, keeping it in bounds, and knocking down some nice putts. Here we go with Steve Rico, about a 40-45 footer back on 17.
He looked like he was halfway running that one. He didn't look like he really was trying to bite too much off there. He's played in 16 of these tournaments, as he told us earlier this morning on the practice green, and plenty of experience, and he knows there's a lot of golf still left to play. Chris Dickerson, however, this is right in a range that we have seen him attack and hit center pole on time after time throughout the season.
Yeah, at this season, actually, he has multiple wins, and throughout his career, he's actually at 50% win percentage. So he's a top-level player out of Tennessee. Plays a lot of regional events, but has been coming out more and more for the top-level A tiers and national tours, knocking down the pretty putt to go to 8 down through 17 holes.
Great move by the Southern boy, representing Prodigy Disc.
And here we go with another Southern boy, Shane Seal.
There we go. A little Alabama accent for the Alabama putt coming through.
Longtime player. He's been coming to this event for many years, and it's great to see him out here for the 20th edition of the USDGC. You could tell by the follow through and the lack of commitment on that putt that it had no chance of going in.
Just very last second, he just got spooked and didn't quite keep that disc from hyzering. This should be no problem for Simon.
There's in your backyard. And
oh no.
Wow, he rushed that putt. He was not taking his time. He was very casual with the approach, counted it before it actually went in the basket, and very uncharacteristic.
And let's spin that back on Simon a little bit here, because that is not a putt that you really want to go. Let's see if we can diagnose what happened.
As we're talking about, very casual approach, rushed the shot, wasn't locked in, had a hyzer line on it, but hitting left side chain with that hyzer. Typically, if that was flatter, it probably was stuck in the basket. But, man, just a lapse of focus on that from Simon Lizotte, as he's going to have to resort to dropping in a 3.
There's a lot of talk about spit outs in this sport, and I think a lot of people would kind of be on the line to say, oh, the basket spit that one out, it didn't spit that one out. It's really hard to say because there are things that he could have done better, and when you leave it weak side, as a right-handed player, you leave it on the left side of that basket, you do risk that spit.
Yeah, it's tough to blame the basket in that case. We know why he missed the putt, and I think he knows why they missed the putt as well. But there's been a lot of discussion about the basket, how it should be changed, how it should be a different chain configuration.
Nick Wood here looking to go 2 for 2 aces on the weekend.
What if he went back-to-back aces to start this tournament on hole 17?
Ooh, he's got to go to look for birdie. Going 1-2 in his first 2 rounds on this hole is not bad at all.
He came up to me today. I was kind of disappointed that we didn't have the cameras running and recording yesterday. So unfortunately, we didn't catch the ace from yesterday, and hoping they make up for it today.
And I believe that's going to be Terry Roethlisberger, Team Discraft. And we have one of the Robinson brothers who entered this tournament via Qualifier Monday. Going with the backhand. Annie needs to stay up. And just short of those hay bales, he's going to have to throw again before you can also see in the frame there, Ilkka Niemi, all the way from Finland, had a great showing at Worlds in Vermont about a month ago.
Excellent pronunciation right there. That was beautiful.
Our executive producer's Finnish, so I got to make him proud.
And as you said, Ilkka making his big travels from Finland, over playing this event for the first time. Played well at Worlds, enough to qualify for this event, and making his debut here at the 2018 USDGC.
3 under par so far. Forehand in his arsenal.
Good setup, a good release, leaving it outside wide. Doesn't come up short.
He had the good move on it left to right, but just juiced it a little bit. And as much as it can kind of make you pucker and not fully commit to the shot, you could also go the other way, and it's almost insult to injury finding that water.
It's an interesting feeling you have after you miss that first island shot, that now you're sitting 3, throwing from the tee. There's a tension that builds up. It's really hard to get back into that level frame of mind and commit to the shot. You plan on throwing the first shot, and you're at a loss of a disc trying to capitalize, but now laying up to the fat side of the green, and going to be an easy layup for bogey.
Great move there by both Niemi and Robinson, who threw one OB and then decided, hey, just take the medicine, lay it up, whether to the layup zone here, as you see, or to the safe side of the green.
It's really a lot of strategy, and you don't do that. That's what you don't do. When you lay up, you want to make sure that next shot has enough juice to get past the basket or a little farther so you can put back at the hole. And if you're laying up, you're already counting that 3. By laying up and then leaving it short, a lot more work than you wanted.
And there's a good correction on that side. If you lay up, it opens up the right side of this green, especially for the right-handers. You want to get on that hyzer and play to the wide side of the kidney bean, and he just left that one inside left.
Like I said, the tension, the nerves, you got 2 holes to go, you don't leave it short. The play is to overplay it, make the mistake long if you're going to do it at all. Sure, you might lose a disc if you do play it and juice it like Ilkka did, but man, go back to the basics. You don't want to put it to the fat side of the green and lay up and take your par. By doing that, you're going to save a lot of strokes on this hole.
And let's go back into your memory banks here. I know you've got a lot of experience tangling with this hole. Any memorable tussles over the years?
Yeah, I've definitely taken my bogeys, taken my lumps out here, maybe a few double bogeys. I've never taken huge digits on this hole for the fact that I do have a forehand shot, and I'll throw a very overstable driver. I throw a Whippet X on this hole, so the most overstable disc that Innova makes, and I just aim to that big fat side, right side of the green. I don't like to try to, gamble with this kind of hole. I'm not trying to birdie this hole. I will take a par in this hole each and every day. There's 17 other holes on this course that I'm going to try to attack. This is not one of them. I've seen too many, great champions. As JP said, a lot of championships won or lost in this hole, and I'm going to, play it safe for whatever way I can. A hole like this can dismantle and take the wheels off a player as quick as anything.
So you're happy with 17 down. You get all the other ones. You're good with 17 down.
If I had to bite my lip and take a 17 down, I definitely would.
I think most people in the world watching this broadcast and playing in this tournament would take a 17 down. 15 is the record out here at Winthrop Gold, held by one Mr. Paul Macbeth, and also Josh Anton.
There you go. Very good.
Many attempts. I believe he held the record for, or I should say, set the record, reset, tied himself, and then had to wait for Paul to go over top in 2014, I believe.
And better yet, during the 2009, where Josh Anton set that 15 down, I got the chance to play with him. So in 2009, I beat him at the World Championships, and then he came back, and I think I may have fueled the fire a little more playing the final round with him, coming out here and shooting the 15 down. But, he missed 3 holes, though.
He missed 3. A beautiful putt there by Ilka Niemi, saving his bogey.
Isaac Robinson making it look easy.
Solid putt there. And Terry Roethlisberger and Nick Wood left to putt, looking for birdies. 3 of the card under par. Mr. Wood, despite the ace yesterday, getting, the right side.
Wow, that's 2 putts in 2 groups that we've seen tickle right or left side and fall out. I'd love to see a little replay on that one to kind of analyze and see what went wrong either with the release of the disc or the chains, the way they reacted when the disc hit the...
Nick Wood there cleans up that birdie. Once again, UDisc Live. One of the greatest things to happen to the sport since, sliced bread. We can just see you live right on your screen there on the bottom, fed to our cameras, and you can follow along all the action. Make sure you're tuning in udisclive.com. Stats, scores, everything real time. And once again, let's see. Ilka, beautiful putt. Confident and low enough on that weak side to stay inside the tray, and I guess that's the lesson. If you're going to be weak side, be low.
Yeah, it's the best chance of sticking. As we take a look at the top 10 leaderboard for round 2, Paul Macbeth extending his lead. Still got a 2-stroke lead over Josh Anthon and a 5-stroke lead over 3rd place being Zach Milton. He's 5 down through 8 holes on a really good tear right now. But we got Steve Brinster, Kevin Jones, both at 7 under par, making their move, jumping 6 spots, both of them to 4th place. And KJ finally cracking the top 10. 4 down through 10 holes.
Yeah, you talked about Steve Brinster. He is 6 for his last 6, as we also see jumping into the top 10. How about KJ 12-time, as well as KJ USA, Mr. Carl Johan Nebo. And we're going to stay here, right here. You know what you're tuned into. This is Hole 17 live on Innova Disc YouTube and Facebook channels. Beautiful sunlight through the trees of our GoPro angle.
This is our 13th card of the day. We have Noah, we have Andrew, we have Austin, and we have Jordan.
And one of those 4 gentlemen just put a nice move on that disc and should be taking a birdie easily.
Here we have 2nd tee Jordan Castro representing Minnesota. Fantastic player, through and through, young player, and learning a lot, playing a lot of tournaments last season and on tour, getting that experience, but playing the last major of the year for a young gentleman here. It's great to see these young players come through. Tough round today, obviously, but looking to capitalize on hole 17.
Forehand's a little high, a little spiky, just long enough.
Doing what you need to do, put on the fat side of the green.
Get a little kick off the hay bales there and should have a pretty good opportunity. Andrew Presnell, for the last couple of years, is no stranger to some of the lead cards and coverage cards in the sport. Looks like he will also opt for that backhand. Let's see how aggressive he gets with this.
A nice controlled turnover shot, not risking too much, but a very, very well executed shot getting it on the island green.
Maybe the hardest shot shape, to keep it turned over and just land smooth without cut rolling.
Here we have fourth to tee, Austin Hannum from Oklahoma, coming up short. That was a great shot, good speed. It looks like the crosswind may have knocked it down late in the flight. Short of the hay bales, OB, now throwing 3.
Let's see what he does here.
Quick to go, no thought, just quick release, forehand, hyzer shot with the driver.
Good correction there.
Yeah, not trying to bite off too much, and that's the play. You know, to lay up is really tough, but to also to come up short is a mistake you don't want to make.
As these players approach the 17th green here, we are getting into the tee times, which the players finished their first round under par. So coming through soon are some of the hopefuls. We're staring at our tee time sheets for where everybody started out. We're seeing some green numbers next to some names, but as you can see with this group here, just because you start out under par does not guarantee that you are going to finish under par at Winthrop Gold. Again, we're looking at Noah Meintsma, Andrew Presnell, Austin Hannum, and Jordan Castro. Jordan Castro is a great story. You know, he struggled with some weight issues earlier in his career, but he was still able to somewhat compete against the professionals, and he got that under control, and the results are showing. We're seeing him more and more out there, and a very competitive player and just an even nicer guy.
Yeah, it's great to see him competing at the higher levels, especially at some of the bigger tournaments, A tiers, NTs, and now major events. And as we look at Austin Hannum in this group, a young up-and-comer, hasn't been playing the sport that long. This might be his first or second USDGC, and making quite a move, jumping up to 26th place, a 14-spot jump just throughout this round.
And here we have Andrew Presnell.
Tough angle to the basket. As we said, that basket is 6 feet short of the OB, right behind it, so it depends on how aggressive you want to run this. Andrew being a great putter, I see him giving this a good bid. Drew medal and stayed in bounds. Very fortunate.
As we've seen many times, just not full commitment from the putt. It's so hard to talk yourself into that putt. And we'll wait to see who will try their luck next against this basket, which is not always giving up the birdie. And, you know, no doubt, being so close to the OB, just the total package, the total combination of challenges when you are sitting here. And hey, you know what? Most of these guys are staring at our backs as we sit just off of the green. So there's an extra little bit of challenge.
So right there, excuse me, that Andrew actually went off the top of the band and out of bounds with that putt. So he has to replay it from the previous lie with that OB.
Stroke and distance got him. And that is going to add a couple more strokes to his score right there. Austin Hannum staring down a slight right to left wind.
That was a good bid. Left it high, left it to the right side, letting the wind trying to guide it back into the change, just leaving it a little high off the belt.
He read it properly, just a little bit of a high release there.
I'm kind of surprised these players are putting right now with all the action going down on 18's tee pad. Typically in this case, you let the higher hole proceed, let them throw, and then you take on the putts. So there's no rush right here, especially trying to be patient on a hole this difficult.
Yeah, that's a great point, Avery. When you're playing a tournament, always remember golf course etiquette and disc golf course etiquette. It says the higher hole goes first, and what is it with that spot so far this afternoon that you would think that's the easier angle to attack this basket from? But we've seen a handful of players just not convert.
There's been a player in every group in the last 3 that's just rushed this putt, lost a little focus, a little lapse in concentration, and it takes full commitment all the way through, not on one hole or 16 holes, but all 18 holes throughout the round.
And as we watch this card clean up, this is your 11:50 a.m. card. 2 more hours of cards to come through this grueling Winthrop Gold course. And we are so happy everybody could join us this afternoon. Once again, if you're just joining, this is Hole 17 Live. You're watching on Innovadis YouTube and Facebook channels. Please, please, please help us get the word out there. Let's set some records. We've talked about a great year for parody and disc golf. It's been a great year for media. I want to congratulate our friends over at Smashbox TV for their live broadcast at the World Championships, reaching over 11,000 concurrent viewers, nearly doubling the record to my knowledge, and being the first broadcast in the sport to get 5-figure viewer count. We hope with your help that we can get somewhat close to those numbers, if not go over top of it, for one of the most prestigious tournaments in all of the sport. But for now, the USDGC is not just known for what happens on between the ropes, all of the charity initiatives, all of everything that goes on beyond the ropes. Let's check out what it comes to when we're talking about charity.
Well, if I had to sum up, Throw Pink in a couple of sentences, which is hard to do because we do so much. It's making a difference through the game of disc golf by also empowering and encouraging more women to get out and play. The championship got involved with Throw Pink in 2014. We had the first Throw Pink event in conjunction with the championship. The championship has always given back to the EDGE program and to local charities. It's always been really big on, making a difference. And when Throw Pink was founded, they jumped in and was like, we want to make a difference for this as well. So the championship has been huge for us as far as media and publicity and raising money for us, and they've really supported us over the years. We're really excited about it this year. We're going to have Des Redding. She's a world champion, 3 times world champion. She's going to be here. The Breast Cancer Coalition is coming in. They're going to talk to the ladies about some of the ways that they can make a difference locally. There's no cure for cancer, but if you go into it and you're healthier when you're diagnosed with it, you have a better chance of fighting it. And disc golf is a really great way to get healthy and have fun. It's very easy to get involved in Throw Pink. I mean, the easy solution is you can buy Throw Pink merchandise that all goes towards the charity and making a difference. But you can also run Throw Pink clinics, or you can run full-on PDGA sanctioned events. Well, the Big Arm, Big Hearts Lake Toss, they've always done a distance showcase across the Winthrop Lake, and in recent years they've paired it as a fundraiser for Throw Pink. So participants and spectators can come in and they can buy a disc, and they sign their name on the back of the disc, and then one of the pros that's throwing it will throw it across the lake. If it makes it across, you get to keep it. And in previous years, we've had baskets set up, and if they make it in the basket, you get to keep the basket too. And all the money goes to Throw Pink for the discs that are purchased. And hi, please join us this Saturday, October 6th at 9 a.m. for the Throw Pink Clinic and Fun Round here at Winthrop University. And stick around afterwards to watch some of the top pros throw over the lake behind us. Come join us and let's make a difference.
The USDGC is my favorite event of the year, and this video series is designed to show you some of the reasons why. I'm Jamie Thomas, and I'm inviting you to come along with me and explore this tournament beyond the ropes.
It's Wednesday morning at the USDGC, and while the competitors are out on the course, Edge Village is in full swing. We've got some of the local kids coming in to learn how to play disc golf, how to have etiquette on the course, and as a bonus, they even get to watch the best in the world out on Winthrop Gold. Giving back is a big part of what this tournament brings to the community, and giving back is the focus of today's episode.
Well, the EDGE program itself was created to provide a curriculum to teach the sport of disc golf. In conjunction with the curriculum, we provide discounted equipment. We've worked through various grant programs, so in many cases we're able to provide schools at no charge with equipment and curriculum. My name is David Shope. I've been a coordinator for the EDGE program for more than a decade now. What we do here at the championship is bring in schools from the local Rock Hill community as well as Charlotte, and even had a school come up from Columbia, South Carolina this year.
Forward, and we use our whole body. We reach all the way back and we go all the way forward.
They learn a little bit of everything. So we have a driving station. Kids really like that because, of course, they want to throw as hard as they can and watch it fly. We have an approach station, approach around obstacle station, as well as a putting station. A lot of people are familiar with Ring of Fire, so the kids seem to enjoy that as well.
Yeah, nice shot. Nice shot. Glad we took the backpack off.
The Edge Village, we went down and filmed the other day. It was amazing just to see the joy on the kids' faces as they learn some of these skills that they'll undoubtedly use out on the course, and just the excitement when the disc hits the chains.
Yeah.
You know what's the master plan behind that, and how did that all get started?
You know, Rock Hill is a model city from an Edge programming standpoint. I mean, every school in town has all of the, has everything they need. It's being taught every year and has for many years. So we just sort of evolved to a place where it was like, okay, why don't we just invite them to come out? So we created a budget to help fund the gas and the drivers and bus everybody in, and it was probably a school or two in the first year, and now we bring 1,000 kids out here over the span of 3 days. And it's their first experience with disc golf is a professional one.
USDGC has been behind the Edge program since the get-go. I mean, each year a large sum is donated to the Edge program, which is, we couldn't do it without the USDGC. Over $250,000 has been donated to Edge since the beginning of the championship.
We want to create those moments. I mean, to sit there and watch kids cheer or go, oh, when the shot hits the bamboo, and give them those first disc in hand opportunities, and just seeing them light up when they make a putt. That's fun. And those are some of the things that are that's one of the great experiences this week.
Towards this way, I play a bunch with my boyfriend in the middle.
Fair enough.
I play a bunch, but I'm not really that good over here, so just kind of spread yourself according to.
Well, this is going to be the 4th year this event is taking place. It's Throw Pink Fuel Park. It's one of the Throw Pink events in South Carolina, and it's in conjunction with the USDGC. The premise of the event is to get more women playing, so it's set up for new players. But we have a lot of experienced players coming out, like Elaine King, Debbie Scott, Madison Walker will be there, Ashley Collins, and they're going to come out and they're going to do some clinics, and they're also just going to play along with some of the new girls, and all of the proceeds are going to Project Pink this year. You may have seen them around. It's a giant pink bus that drives around, and it provides free mammograms for the ladies that can't afford it or don't have insurance.
It's really interesting to learn all of the different facets of this event and all of the things that just go on outside of the ropes, so to speak. And one of the coolest things, I think, is the Throw Pink initiative, being that the event is in October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Can you shed some light on what that is and how that came to be?
Well, Sarah Nicholson really is the mastermind behind that. It was her idea to basically utilize disc golf to bring girls and women of all ages together to play in a way that created more awareness for breast cancer.
My name is Sarah Nicholson, and I work for Innova Disc Golf. I'm also co-founder of Throw Pink that was started in 2013. What I've ultimately wanted to do since starting the sport is to see more women on the course playing. I started playing with a bunch of guys, as most of the girls' stories will go. It's just like one of those things where it combines everything I've wanted to do in my life into the one beautiful package that I want to share with other people.
So we have the Big Arm, Big Heart Distance Showcase every year up here at the Shack. It happens right after the last putt drops. It is a fantastic opportunity to give back.
And we're underway, 69 more to go. This thing's on its way, folks.
So the purchaser of the disc actually marks it up with their name, their information, and then we can say this one's for Jamie. Or
One shot, we're over the road already. Maybe we didn't put the target.
once a disc gets cleanly across, then the person who paid for it gets that disc back as a really cool keepsake, a way to remember, supporting a great cause.
Well, you know, USDGC has been doing that distance showcase for years. You know, that the Throw Pink just kind of jumped on the bandwagon with that. And it's really cool this year because Paige Pierce is going to be throwing, so I'm excited for the girls to come back and see another female, you know, just crushing it across the lake.
I mean, we've seen some 700+ foot throws. It's one of the most exciting parts of the whole event, and it happens right there at the end when everybody's here and ready for it.
It's a really cool program that I would say is still kind of in its infancy, and kind of put it as front and center as we possibly can, just so that it'll hopefully accelerate its development and effectiveness.
Edge is creating the next generation of disc golfers, you know.
Our goal for 2018 would be to get a Throw Pink event in all 50 states so that Throw Pink can impact communities all around the United States.
My dream has always been one day you might see a world champion say, you know, I learned how to play disc golf in school.
I really love doing it, and I hope to be able to do it and help people for years to come.
It's rewarding, but it's also inspiring because I know we got a lot more, there's a lot more gas in the tank.
Best is yet to come.
The best, every year is our new best year ever.
And you are watching the Beyond the Ropes episode of Throw Pink that I had the pleasure of producing last year. Very proud of that, and very thankful to Sarah and Dave and everybody else involved in these charity efforts. It's so important at Rock Hill, but more on that in a moment as Drew Gibson is putting here on hole 17.
Drew, known for his distance, but definitely a fantastic putter as he knocks it down for birdie on hole number 17. Very confident player, very young player. Definitely got a chip on his shoulder, but it's great to see the confidence that radiates from this young player.
Yeah, quality putt there. He's going to take a triple bogey on that hole, knock him back down to 5 under par. Three-time U.S. champion Will Schustrick is at 2 under par. Dustin Keegan 1 over, and Jeremiah Krause, who started out his event 7 through 7 in that first day, is even. Speaking of words that start with E in a really smooth transition there, how about an eagle on hole 10 from not only Ricky Wysocki but also Paul McBeth? Let's cue that up. Paul McBeth's eagle on hole number 10.
Wow, an excellent tee shot to even put in position on the green. It's about a 475 feet. It's actually 450 feet, but when you cross that angle there, it's actually 475. So it's a longer hole for most, but with the range that Paul McBeth has with the distance driver, putting it on the dance floor and knocking down the eagle on hole number 10, it's a great way to get things going, transitioning into the back nine of the course.
One of those holes that I like to call a 4-digit separator, hole number 10. You can see, and you'll see a little later when we play the qualifying episode of Beyond the Ropes, pure hyzer. Nearly 500 feet, and that's something that these guys at the top just have, and it separates the wheat from the chaff. So Paul McBeth and Ricky Wysocki, I want to talk about him a little bit because we have not called his name yet today. He's been hovering around the top 10. He also knocked down the eagle on hole 10 and sitting in 12th the last I checked here.
Yeah, he's a fantastic player, obviously two-time world champion, and I expect to see a great showing from here, from him at this weekend's event. Living in Fort Mill, South Carolina, so 15 minutes from this course. He gets to practice this course quite a bit. He can even probably call it his home course, being a major event here at Winthrop Gold, and I expect big things from him this week. Fantastic player no matter where he plays around the world. Great driver, great putter, and this course lays up really nice with the forehand, the backhand combination that he's able to offer.
As much as you can call any course a home course for these guys, the tour schedule has gotten so tightly packed as of late. Paul McBeth, 4-time world champion. After the eagle, he'll lead the box on hole 11.
Interesting shot selection here. Looking to play the hyzer out wide right and just nestle it in center cut of the fairway. But throws it wide, catches that tree, waiting for the flags, does get the green flag inbounds. Wow. Not the shot he was looking for, though, on that hole, Jamie.
It's a little bit of a mixed bag there because that's definitely not what he was looking to do. But if you remember back to Chairgate a few years ago, he did go on to win that event later on that weekend. So can history repeat itself? certainly looks good for him with a 6-stroke lead so far.
So James Conrad, again, that's a rare case where you don't see him in frame, that he doesn't have the purple putter in his hand. And like I said before, I think that's one disc he could probably walk around this entire course and just throw repeatedly on drives, on approaches, and putts.
And the spotter's going to run up and red flag.
Really?
For James Conrad.
I thought there's no way he's getting to that OB line off the tee with a putter. They've definitely moved that OB line and encroached it a little closer to the tee pad over the years, and more so this year than any other year I've seen.
It's one there, like you said, the rope has changed often on this hole, whether it's been a hazard, whether it's been out of bounds, the shape of the fairway. They really play with this one quite a bit. Zach Melton here using the left-handed advantage on hole 11.
And playing that shot outside left and bringing it back to the wider area of the fairway and keeping it up top side on that plateau gives you a nice angle on the second shot approaching the basket.
Yeah, his lie there is going to give him the best footing of the group so far.
Josh Anthon next to tee. Matching Zach Milton's flight pattern, but with a righty turnover shot, still trying to keep it on that top high side of the fairway.
And I bet my bottom dollar there that that's a leopard that has been in his bag longer than I've been in this game.
You made the call earlier. A lot of the putters that a lot of the older, not older, but veteran players in the sports. There we go. And I definitely have a lot of older disc in my bag as well. But when you fall in love with a disc and you condition a disc to a certain flight pattern, those are discs you can trust. And these are the courses that you want to have, discs that you can trust, and any shot. And having that fairway shot, keeping it in the middle of the ropes, keeping it in bounds, the name of the game of Winthrop Gold.
It's always the archer and not the arrow. But as Avery's saying, it is real nice when you're feeling a little shaky about the lie that you got, when you can step up and just trust that old trusty disc in the bag.
Yeah.
You know how it's going to fly. Once again, if you are just tuning in, we are so happy to have you. It's 3:46 p.m. local time. We're going to be with you through the end of this round. This is hole 17 live on Innova Discs Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure you tune into their Instagram as well. We put up a pretty cool video, and I want to bring this back. We're going to be doing some giveaways later this week. We each put together a box of goodies from the Pro Shop. And man, Avery, I know you've spent some money in that Pro Shop already. I've spent some money in the Pro Shop already. I look forward to it. My wife just tells me, keep it reasonable, like I'm going to Vegas or something.
Wow, your wife give you a budget, huh?
Yeah, I got.
Fortunately, I do not have that budget, and every single day I've walked in that Pro Shop, they do a daily release, whether it's a throwback stamp of some type on some rocks, on some Thunderbirds, on some T-Birds, and they always come up with something cool and exclusive that they release at the Pro Shop and DGU online for all those fans and spectators out there that want to have something collectible. And me being for a huge collector all these years, I'm going to pick up something in that Pro Shop each and every day. You can count on that.
Absolutely. Here is Josh Anthon looking to attack this hillside and find a birdie putt.
Yeah, lining up a nice second shot, attackable. But look at that rope line, so close to the green.
It's on the low side of the hill.
Yeah, that's an OB. That's a red flag. Really tough to go backhand on this hole. Lines up really nice for either a backhand forehand approach, or if you're Zach Milton going lefty-lefty, this hole lines up very nice just on the angles and the way the side hill slopes on this side hill basket position, hole number 11.
I'm a little surprised to see Anton not opt for the forehand there. It's in his arsenal, maybe just out of his range. Let's see Zach Melton.
Good follow through, good commitment. And nice bounce check off the side hill as it feeds forward toward the basket on the green.
Yeah,
you'll take that.
That's good knowledge right there. That hillside, as you know, you can get the roll, or if you have the right kind of spin, the right kind of angle coming in on that hillside, you can definitely get a little forward roll towards that basket.
And a lot of times with these shots, you can watch these players, just how they follow through and the speed of their follow through to how well that shot's going to turn out most of the time. As we evaluate shots on 17, a lot of times you can watch if a player doesn't follow through all the way on those shots. Typically, that shot's not going to be a positive outcome.
Paul Macbeth from the far right side. This is a tricky angle.
Forehand shot, great shot selection.
just beating that out-of-bounds line. Going to look to have about a 24-footer, about a 7-8 meter putt there.
Anything inside that circle is going to be comfortable for Paul McBeth.
Yeah, he has putted very well throughout this weekend so far. As we use UDisc Live and UDisc Stats to check out, he is 100% Circle 1 putting on the day. Once again, he's bogey-free through the first 3 sets of 9s. Through 27 and the 28th hole, he's bogey-free. Looks like it's going to be 29 pretty soon. And drop zone, which is, I believe, new to this hole this year.
Yeah, sitting 291 feet from the basket. Tricky side hill position for the target here. And you can see the flag from the drop zone, which does give him a little bit of advantage to at least get the line correct. Floats a little forehand out there left side. Ooh, you just never know what the hillside's going to deliver as far as a check, a skip, and a roll.
Oh, there we go. We've already brought one of yours in. That's one of your most famous sayings, as I understand it. And this is the brutal stroke and distance part here. Josh Anton and James Conrad, neither of them really known for their forehand.
And this round is getting away for Josh Anton fairly quick. Back by 6 strokes to Paul McBeth, currently in second place, but a couple OBs on this hole is going to be detrimental to his score.
And you just can't attack this pin with a backhand. It's so dangerous. Great correction on that one. 4 meters, no problem.
Yeah, that's tough to watch. As I was saying, 6 strokes back of the leader, and it's going to be quite a few more after this hole is finished. These players are just trying to keep pace with Paul McBeth at this point, putting on a clinic, putting on a show. 3 pars on the day with an eagle, on pace to beat his yesterday's score of 13 down. And as JP said, that 30 under par total through 4 rounds. Yeah, that's not going to hold.
Not if he keeps playing as hot as he is. And for those who know, I actually do a podcast called The Upshot that we are doing live after each round. So when you're done checking us out here, check us out over there on Ulti-World Disc Golf. But we were talking last night about Paul McBeth and how you can't call it over. And I know that seems like the obvious thing to say, but we have seen plenty of times where somebody can go 13 down, 15 down, turn around and shoot 1 or 2 down the next day. But so far, Paul looks impervious to that fall off.
It can happen, and it can happen to the best players in the world, and it has happened in the past. But the way he's playing right now, he's in a zone. He's on focus right now, and he's playing the shots how he knows to play them. He knows his course very well. He knows to keep it in bounds, play aggressive when you have to, but dial back when you have to as well. And he's just making all the right shots. And as you saw, he's 100% inside the putting circle 1.
Let's see if he can keep that streak going. Here's Paul from just about 27, 28 feet. Pure.
Drains it from the top of the hill in for birdie on hole number 11. Going to 22 under par for the round. Sorry, for the weekend, for the tournament.
And James Conrad will be next. Tester putt. The extra height helps here. He's going to stare down a right to left crosswind, which as a right-handed putter, there's a little bit of a risk that it can lift. It can lift and push it hyzer. So he'll need to be pure, strong, straight through to the pole.
Putting for bogey 5. Very slight crosswind right to left. Uphill making the adjustment. A taller player, so having the basket at this height is a good advantage for him, as he's going to have a nice straight release, good follow through, and puts it in for bogey.
Good follow through, like you said there, Avery. That will clean up his 5. Josh Anton is staring down a triple bogey, and Zach Melton, who has fallen a few strokes off the pace as well, looking to get out of trouble here and go to 12. There he falls in. We mentioned Zach Melton. He's now tied for 4th. Steve Brenster, 6 out of his last 7. James Conrad still sitting in 3rd. Josh Anton 2nd. And obviously your leader card, Paul McBeth. Let's roll it back real quick. Let's see how our leader played this entire hole. Hole 11, USDGC.
I was going to say a great testament to how these players can play these holes. Paul Macbeth not clean off the tee, landing high side of the fairway, but putting the forehand shot on the green and knocking down the birdie putt. So out of position after the tee shot and still able to convert for birdie.
Here's a mixed card of players from all around the world. Silver Lot from Estonia, Grady Shue, pretty local here to North Carolina, Joel Freeman out of Colorado, and Jalle Stur, yet another one of the Finnish representatives here at the 20th USDGC. A whole mix of scores on this card here, Avery, is Silver Lot, who's had a really great U.S. run with his touring partner and partner in life.
Yeah, his girlfriend, Kristen Tatar, out here traveling around with us, traveling around with him throughout the year. And great to see them playing U.S. tournaments, you know, making the trip over here and definitely committing to the U.S. Tour. Much different than a lot of the tournaments in Europe and throughout Estonia. And being a forehand thrower, this course lays out for him very, very well.
Thank you for saving me on that one, as I had a little brain fart there. Here's Joel Freeman staring down outside the circle putt. He's such a confident player. Shows right there.
Yeah, he had a great start to the season. Great finish at Vegas with a second place to Eagle McMahon early in the year. Keeping pace with a lot of the great players and trying to make a name for himself this weekend.
Rocking that purple and gray. Solid look, solid putt.
Here's Grady Shue, Team Discmania.
Confident stroke there, just a little left side.
Had a little hyzer on that putt. I think a flatter, straighter putt would have definitely stuck in for birdie. Not phased by that missed putt though. I think he's gonna be knocking it down for the easy par on this hole.
Jalle Stur.
The same result.
Yet again, a lot of left side misses here on 17 today.
It's going to make you think when you're putting back at the OB, obviously you want to make the putt. If at all else fails, you want to draw metal and stay in bounds. And I think just that lack of confidence or maybe second guessing that putt out of your hand is causing a lot of players to not fully commit to the stroke or the follow through on these putts.
And here's Silver Lot. Oh no.
Yeah. Wow, 6 down going into 17, and you didn't expect to see that putt. Going low, playing so good throughout this tournament, and you got to take advantage of those birdie putts.
Grady Shue, crane leg. My crane style hits the short putt, and we're going to go back to 18. But we're talking about this basket, which is just rejecting some of these putts. Let's roll that back and see these again. Joel Freeman, pro side. That's where you need to be. And then now we have
Grady Shue. It was Grady Shue.
And then here is Silver. Just a little short.
Yeah, when you're putting back at the OB, you're going to second guess a few things.
And there we saw the card we just saw. Just playing back those putts again, once again. It can't be overstated.
Yeah.
The amount of difficulty. And with the weather that we're having, when it gets warm and you're struggling and you're fighting for every single hole and you just want to get done and have a nice brewski, sit back, have a sandwich over at Hospitality and, you know, chat and reminisce. But no, you've got to stare down these 2 holes and finish strong.
You can't just play 16, 17 holes out here. You got to play all 18. And if you start getting physically fatigued or mentally fatigued, these are longer rounds. These are about 3 hours and 3 hours 30 minutes, 3 hours and 45 minutes. They're longer rounds. They're going to wear on you mentally and physically, and it's about capitalizing on these putts when they present themselves inside the circle. You better step to the occasion and knock them down while you can.
And another thing that we mentioned, we'll get back to that in just a minute, is Paul Macbeth here lining up on hole 12. Birdie, eagle, birdie on his last 3 holes. And this is a trap hole. You really need to be in the right spot on the fairway to attack it. Let's see if you can get there.
And you must let everyone know. Yeah, a little bit of butt pucker.
Calling for it to get to the ground, trying to land up on that upper edge of the spine of the fairway, which will set up a really nice look at a second shot to the basket.
And a lot of these guys, Avery, here are just trying to get solid footing because that is going to determine so much of whether you can attack the basket on your second throw or not.
And Paul McBeth, the only player to go bogey-free yesterday. There's been several players that went through 17 holes bogey-free, but he went through all 18 holes and carding that 13 down, on pace for another scorcher round as he's currently 9 down through 11 holes.
Still the only bogey-free player, Zach Melton. Just a little skippity-doo-dah right there, center fairway. He should be in good position to attack from there.
Yeah, a lot goes into where Paul's at right now. He's currently up by 8 strokes on second place, James Conrad. And you always wonder, you know, with other players, do they hold on and play conservative with that lead, or do you stick with that same kind of gameplay? And as we've seen with Paul McBeth throughout the years and throughout these big major events, there's no let up in his game. He sticks to the game plan, sticks to the routine, and keeps the pedal to the metal.
James Conrad getting turned over, clearing the hay bales. There is a little corner of OB there. He'll need a flag to see how he's looking. And Josh Anton, who is 4 over through his last 3 holes, could really use a birdie here. No problem into the fairway. Little gentle hyzer there. Let's take a look at this leaderboard. We've seen a little bit of shifting so far. Not in the #1 spot, obviously, but 11 is the marker to be at to make the top 10. What are you seeing here, Avery?
You're seeing Jeremy Coley making a huge move, 9 down through 15 holes, making a 23 spot jump into the top 6, along with his commentary partner Nate Sexton making 11 spot jump, currently 7 down through 14 holes. And Kevin Jones, currently tied for 4th place, jumping 6 spots, 7 down through 12 holes. Players are bringing it through the second round, trying to line themselves and put themselves in position for moving day.
Yeah, and how about Nathan Queen? 88% fairway hits on the round today, 92% inside the circle putting. He's averaging about a 17-footer to hole out, so very solid player, and I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't know much about him, but I know he's got game based on where he's at.
Yeah, if you have to knock down a bunch of 17-footers throughout the day for these world-class players, they will take it. Anything within that, you can count it, 100% of the time.
And we also saw Paul Ulibarri, Kevin Jones, and Nicola Castro still fighting inside that top 5. They're going to look to try to get on the leader card for tomorrow as we go real live. This is a VIP audience so far today. So for the, hopefully there's 7 of you now. If you guys told some friends over there at the Stonehouse, we appreciate you tuning in. Once again, this is Hole 17 live. Avery Jenkins, Jamie Thomas, happy to be joining you. Just past 4 o'clock, and man, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. I know in this heat I could use a margarita, so how about you?
Yeah, what's a concessions cart coming around? I think we need to get delivered right to the studio here.
Yeah, Lagunitas has been providing us with some great beer. Thanks for their sponsorship, keeping everybody refreshed. And you know who we haven't thanked that we really must thank? I'll leave this as a surprise in just a minute. Very special thanks coming out soon, but first, from Gray, Tennessee, orange on the shirt, left-handed, attack the green, Mr. Melton.
Leaving it out left side, trimming a couple of those leaves on the way back to the fairway. You want to be high side left. If you get caught in that little valley there, actually it's really hard to see the basket and to get a good line. And where they have the basket placed on the backside of that hill, it's right before it drops off down the hill. So a lot of speed control discipline on a shot, second shot or third shot approach to this very difficult par 4.
Not a whole lot of hills or elevation out here, but definitely some undulations to deal with on the 12th hole. No doubt McBeth is going for this one. Leaking a little bit out. Can it finish far enough left?
Waiting for the call, waiting for the reaction here. Paul McBeth, a little tip of the cap. I believe he's in bounds.
looks like he did not make it inbounds. We didn't see a spotter flag, but we used the UDisc Live stats. Once again, shout out to them. And that's going to be the first out-of-bounds penalty he's taken today. And that magnificent bogey-free streak may just come to an end unless he's got a little magic in that putter.
I was going to say, he still has a chance to save par. No matter if you throw a B on some of these longer holes, par 4s and par 5s, you're still able to capitalize and save your par.
And here's Josh Anton from just short of the drop zone. He looks to be lining up an aggressive line as well.
So drop zone at 347 feet. He's probably about 20 feet back of that, looking at about 360, 370 to the pin. Really hard to it's really hard to tell where that disc is ending up. It's a blind shot over the hill. You can see the flag kind of blowing in the breeze, but really tough. And we'll apologize on that call. It's actually it's kind of a stroke and distance call where if you go out of bounds anywhere on this hole, you're going directly to the drop zone.
It seems that Josh and Paul both missed short. It's harder to miss long for these guys. Normally you're going to get a pretty favorable hit, but
you can barely
that
see
might
the
be
flag.
short too. We'll have to see. Okay, looks like he did get inside the circle there. He will be putting for bogey. Josh, similar line, Heiser here. And just a little bit of frustration. The wheels kind of falling off, and you're gonna have to really put it together and pick yourself up off the floor. But he's staring down hole 999, which is traditionally another one of those round breakers.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to have a lapse in concentration come this middle stretch. This is the middle 6, as we talked about, the last hole of the middle 6. And where these holes start kind of lining up in shot for shot, just keeping the shots in bounds is more important than the actual distance down the fairway. As we saw with Macbeth and Anthon, it's about the distance off the tee, really lining up that second shot to the basket. James Conrad got a full look at the basket, tucked back there along the hillside. Looked to be a nice clean shot, waiting for the call.
Beautiful purple disc he's throwing there. James Conrad putting for birdie inside circle 1. And Paul Macbeth right there, we saw a little bit of that swagger taken out of his walk. He is not happy. You know him. He is a hyper-aware player. He knows the leaderboard. I've seen him at tournaments checking his phone, seeing his lead or how far he has to catch up.
Yeah.
Just, man, what a magnificent bogey-free streak is going to come to an end. Hopefully he can stop the bleeding there and continue pretty solid round.
He's still in a very controllable position right now. 8 strokes up on second place for the time being. But he's in control of this tournament right now, and depending on what he does, you know, he's on top of the mountain right now. If he can walk this through and still score throughout this round, play safe, not take too many risks, walk it in with, you know, anywhere 8, 9, 10 down per round, he's going to walk away with this championship fairly easy.
4:07 p.m. local time here at Winthrop University. We will be with you through the conclusion of this round. This is hole 17 live at the United States Disc Golf Championship. It's the 20th running. And Avery, 19 for you.
19 years. Yeah,
19 years.
I missed the first year. I qualified every single year throughout 20 years. So even as an amateur, I qualified the first year, 1999, USDGC, and didn't know exactly what it was. It was a kind of a concept, an idea of a big tournament. 68 players showed up that year. Ken Climo ended up winning. I was back in Ohio, still in university, still in college, and I couldn't take off that week for classes, but really didn't know what to expect of what this tournament was going to turn out to be, and the legacy continues. So very, very grateful that I could be here every single year. Played 15 of the years. 2015 was my last year as a competitor, and did commentary for the World Tour 17, 18, and doing media for USDGC Live from 17 in 2018.
Josh Anton. A little too much heat on that. He's going to have an uphill leave from probably about 8.5, 9 meters there. That's just under 30 feet for our American friends, my fellow Americans. James Conrad, well within range. This would be a great move for him on the rest of the card.
Looks to be just inside circle 1, putting back at the basket for birdie. Great putter, as we know, displaying that throughout the round. currently 90% inside circle 1.
Pure, once again.
Dead center, knocks it down, no problem for him on hole number 12, knocking down the 3 on the par 4.
And that is a great feeling of confidence going into hole 13. Macbeth needs to stop the bleeding here. This is a very telling putt. Let's see how it hits.
This is going to tell you a lot about the confidence where Macbeth is. And a little hesitation as the putter got hung up in the chains, waiting for it to drop in the bottom of the basket, and he stood there in anticipation on the bogey putt, hoping that was going to fall to the bottom of the basket.
And that's one of those little things. We see a little bit of a chink in the armor there. A little bit of his swagger is gone. The putt wasn't quite as solid. 13 could be a big momentum swing. Oh, no. And Josh just running into all kinds of trouble in this middle 6. We forecasted it earlier, and it has come true for one of the game's stalwarts.
Yeah, a little hiccup there, a little hiccup on 12, a little hiccup on the hole before on 11. Just kind of off his game, trying to make a move and trying to play aggressive is costing Josh Anthon as it continues to fall down the leaderboard.
Yeah, that's going to put him at 9 under par. He has dropped 9 spots to be tied for 11th here. And here is a star-studded card on 17, going to make the walk. Jeremy Colling, Paul Ulibarri, Patrick Brown sporting the cart, which is a little bit unusual for him. And Seppo Payu along with Scott Withers will round out that card. Or excuse me, that was Seppo, not Paul. They all wear the same thing. It's kind of funny.
Yeah, you got that right. We're on the 8th card, the 12:40 tee time. We're getting definitely into the meat of the order here. A lot of top players toward the top of the ranks. And it's been a long day. You can see a lot of these players definitely looks like they're a little more exhausted, a little tired, a little mentally fatigued. Not sure where Colling was. He is putting for birdie inside circle 1, so ended up converting on his first shot here. Yesterday had a little difficult time trying to put it on the green, and I don't know why it said that, but he's not putting for birdie if he just picked up his drive short of the tee.
Hanging his head a little bit there, but he is 12 under par. This is a important putt for him, and he knows it. You could see the look on his face. As we wait to see who will be the first to putt. Scott Withers, Patrick Brown, Jeremy Colling, and Seppo Payu. What a card for the second round.
Yeah, it helps to be playing with top-ranked players, top world-class players during these rounds. They're definitely going to set a pace for you. Colling currently at 12 under par.
Seppo, I think that was a layup. He looks a little upset with himself. Maybe a little half grin there, but certainly looked like a layup all the way.
Here's our good friend Patrick Brown, 2018 Grandmaster World Champion, or we'll go 50-plus World Champion. Phenomenal player at any age, at any rank.
Oh, and he hates missing low. One thing that if you want to annoy Patrick Brown, watch him miss low.
I think he saw you move.
Might have.
Scott Withers, hailing from Oregon, teammate of a sponsored, lining up a sizable birdie putt here. Didn't have a lot of commitment to that one. Looked very casual.
A little wide right. Here's Big Germ, who, like so many of the Innova and Discmania sponsored pros, likes the P2. He's got his own personal stamp on there. Bright red. Let's see if he can knock this one down. Quality.
Yeah, he took his time there. He's made that putt 1,000, maybe 10,000, maybe 50,000 times. So putting it down, knocking it down, and should have converted for bogey on that hole. It said birdie. I don't know. What was he picking up? Was he picking up someone else's disc on the front side of the hay bales?
Who knows? Germ is a gentleman. I got the chance to play on a card with him at the San Francisco Open earlier this year. It was a kind of nice little moment where at the end of Hole 18, we took our hats off like a traditional golf tournament, shook hands. So, you know, but a player who is known for etiquette and known for just being a gentleman in the game.
Oh, taking the hat off and the handshake on the final hole is how it's done.
A little formal for disc golf. But you know what? Hey, we're gonna bring it back. You know, I know you aren't so much of a fan of the high fives on hole 18. You still got one more to play.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not done yet.
Yeah, no, but you congratulate everybody through 17 holes and say finish it up, finish strong, and man, a handshake and a hat off on the final hole is how it's done in golf, and that's how we do it in disc golf.
Yeah, gentlemen in both sports, we are waiting for our lead card to attack what used to be known, hopefully for par. Great putt there by Johnny, as he will take that par, avoid disaster. 8 down is a fantastic score. And he's done battle with this hole, as you could see. Fight Night promo shot right there from Sean E. McRae.
Showing that basket who's boss.
And we are so happy you are joining us once again. Hole 17 live, USDGC. It's the 20th year. From 99 to 2018, there have been so many great storylines from this tournament. And there are many more to be written this weekend. We're going to take a commercial break. Thank our sponsors. We'll be back with you in just a moment.
The USDGC is my favorite event of the year, and this video series is designed to show you some of the reasons why. I'm Jamie Thomas, and I'm inviting you to come along with me and explore this tournament beyond the ropes.
So it's USDGC time once again, one of the most prestigious events in all of the United States, in fact, all of the world. And I've got Jonathan Poole here with me. We're going to talk about a few things. First and foremost is, how do you qualify for an event like this?
Well, it's, you know, one of the things that makes it, you know, it's a smaller field compared to some of the other events of its kind, but boy, it's a strong field. You know, I mean, it's not an easy thing to get in. So we have regional qualifying events that are really held mainly in the United States, but as part of the World Tour, we've had some outside of the U.S. And you basically have to go to one of those and shoot one of the 5 best scores of those players who have not already qualified. And it gets a little bit easier as the year goes on, as more of the top players who play most of those events get in. You know, more people you don't have to worry about, but boy, it still is tough to get in the top 5.
And some of the participants from the previous year qualify already, is that correct?
Yeah, we take the top 10 from this year's event. So this is in some ways the first qualifying event for next year. But yeah, otherwise you have to earn your way in each year.
So let's quickly recap what we've learned about qualifying for the USDGC. First, the top 10 finishers from the previous year's event will automatically get an invitation to compete in the following year. There are numerous opportunities throughout the touring season for you to earn your qualifying spot. In 2017, there were 18 events held in 5 different countries that were USDGC qualifiers, which means the top 5 not already qualified players, or top 10 in the case of a Disc Golf World Tour event, will receive their invitation to compete in October at Winthrop University. The final way to qualify for this tournament is the Monday qualifier.
So one of the coolest things about qualifying for the USDGC is Qualifier Monday.
It's a lot of pressure on one round if you think about it. You do have optional restarts at any time. If you have a good start and you might mess up halfway through the round, you do have that option to restart, but you have to shoot that one good solid round. A top 5 performance will get you the go-ahead and the entry into the 2017 USDGC.
So now here's the treat for you guys today. We are going to play a qualifier round, Avery and I, with no restarts. One time, run through this course, we'll see how she treats us. We got a world champion, 4-digit rating on this guy here, played in many of these events, and you got 940 rated lefty me. So, yeah, we'll see what happens out there. I'm pretty excited.
This is gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see it.
Let's get to it. So I think we have a bet on this round, right?
You gotta have a round.
Yeah, there's not enough pressure to simulate a qualifying round. We got to bet, so.
It's gotta be worth something.
How about a disc out of each other's bag?
You got anything good in your bag?
Oh, I got good stuff in my bag. Half my bag came from you. Of course I got good
And
stuff.
half
in
my bag's Colton Montgomery, so you can take
Oh,
any disc
iron.
out of that bag.
Perfect, done.
Oh boy, it's another fairway down there. Oh, that's gonna be tough.
CTP.
That's gonna be tough.
Let's go.
I'm gonna tell you right now, it's the least nervous I've ever been on hole 1. ever.
Okay, after 3 holes, let's check in with the scores. Break it down for us, Avery. What do we got?
So really the first hole, it was kind of a scratch on that one and both took a par. Not the best drives.
Okay. Beauty.
Here we go, tie ball game. Tree again. That'll play.
Oh, it's a big forehand. 340?
No.
Not that far?
You're like 280.
Too low.
You like how I gave him miss distance on that one?
Yeah, I like that.
That's how you do when you're a veteran. Hole number 2, you had your kind of ups and downs with the putter. Do it.
Oh, too high. Yeah, that's a 940 putt.
You took your bogey on hole number 2. I took the par on the 4. And then hole number 3, I put it in the circle on the drive. Pretty nice mid-range shot down the hill.
In the bucket. Do it. Do it.
Whew. Let that shot get away from you, and you did take the bunker for the bogey.
That's a deuce right there.
There we go. So you're 2 over after 3, I'm 1 down, and just that really shows what Winthrop can do to you. You know, if you got to keep it inside the fairway, inside the ropes is always the game plan, no matter level you are, what kind of player you are.
All right, hole 4, let's do it.
Skip. Hole number 4, we both took 4s.
Hole 4, got a par, got off that bogey train, that was good.
No bullseyes yet. The entire
No
round.
bullseyes yet. We're just gonna lay that up, make a putt.
Smart play.
Hole 5. Oh, he went super safe. The lefty, I thought I had a big advantage. You know, I'm playing safe away from the water a lot. You went to the forehand a couple times. So I actually played a decent shot. I got a little distance on mine. But this is where Avery knows he can get across. And I don't know that I can get all the way to the pin.
It's really about placement, keeping it in bounds. You have water on your left, you have road on your right. Keep it in bounds, keep it in play. You can walk away with a par, possibly a birdie, but that's the hole that can really bite people too.
So I'm gonna aim at the basket on a hyzer and let it come in a little bit.
Walk on water, baby. Skip. Wow.
I didn't mean to throw it that far outside.
Watching that happen, what's the play now? Oh my gosh, dude.
Oh, I'm in his head. Man, the distance on that hole. Just being able to cut that corner and get to the green, it's so much longer. You might be dry though.
You wanna see this? It's not great. Disc is wet, but it flare skipped off the water and safe.
Woo!
Wow.
So you missed your par putt, I missed my bogey putt.
Yep.
Both makeable. That's really this thing on this course. It's you only see the best players in the world playing it. And so you just see them, okay, this guy's 15 feet, this guy's 21 feet. And then you don't realize that you're gonna be all over the place if you're not so on your consistency. Oh, that's way
Trying to go
outside
over the top.
and too high. Hit it and get in.
Wow.
I'll stay straight, hook in. Oh, beauty.
There we go.
All right, so we're through the front 9.
7.
I took 3.
You took a 3?
Mm-hmm.
I made it through the Trillmando, got the birdie.
There we go.
And the green hit.
That's a clean putt right there.
Number 8.
4. Yeah.
And that's OB.
Slow down, get out of the hazard.
I knocked over a stake with that power.
Is that what happened?
I'm out of bounds though.
Knock over the stake?
Knocked over the stake with that tee shot. That's what power gets you. And so the circle putts both 1-1, no green hits. And number 9,
4.
You took the layup.
Just
4.
go.
Keep carrying. And with the layup 3.
Yeah.
Got the green hit. Got the bullseye hit.
I went on a little par streak. And you win a little roller coaster, a little.
So I'm bogey, birdie, bogey, birdie.
I mean, that's the big thing on this course is I am struggling to get on the green. I don't think I have a green hit yet. No, I have no green hits, and you have 4 through 9 holes. So, you know, shows that it's not just distance, but it's distance and accuracy at distance. That's the real separator so far. But.
So hole number 10, a big arm does have an advantage by going for the tee shot, but you still have to carry a good 450, 475. On this play, I like to lay up when the wind isn't really in my favor, and you can't eagle this hole, but I'm just trying to get a birdie.
If I put my putter 10 feet right, 10 feet closer to the OB off the tee, then I'm inside the circle, and my percent chances, especially at 940 rating, go up tremendously. Can I get a green hit? Can I get one? I mean, I can't jump, right? I can't jump.
Player benefit, absolutely. In this case, when it comes down to stats, that's a green hit.
Green hit, baby, let's go. Now we gotta capitalize.
Oh boy! Wow.
Throw pink.
That was nice.
Let's do it. Guys, I'm not gonna lie, that feels good. Got it. Okay, we just finished the tough stretch, 10 through 13.
Yeah, we took the birdies on hole 10. First time for that today.
All right, come on.
Struggled on 11.
Struggled.
Man. Sit down. Came back, both parred 12. You know, that thing's nice. Get to the basket. Good shot. A little aggressive.
Yeah. Rule of verticality, bro. There's no rule of verticality.
Decent upshot, though. And then 13 happened.
Oh, yeah, he's going for it. Go, baby, go.
No! Unbelievable.
You gotta be kidding me.
How many years do I have to play this hole and it's still the same travesty? Hitting the curb and going out of bounds.
How did that happen? Oh my God, he got robbed on that one. That was beautiful. I'm so scared. Made it on.
That was horrible, by the way. What happened at 13?
Oh, I took an 11.
400 from here.
That was okay. I was thinking like 420 to the pin. All right, so I just gotta flex it over. Get safe. Left is safe. The AM showed up again, and I took 4 penalties out of bounds. Oh. Trying to make the corner, doing everything I could. I have to go for it. Sunk cost fallacy. This is what cost everybody their tournament, and I'm gonna do it anyway. No, I still didn't do it, dude. Oh my God. Yeah, this is where you lay up.
Up and down with the pole tap.
First good shot I've thrown all hole. The best players in the world have done this. We've seen Kenny, we've seen Eagle, we've seen Barry. How do I come back from that?
It's 1 hole of 18. You really got to just kind of remain focused. You got 5 more holes to play. Go back to your game plan. Stick to your game plan. Keep it in bounds. Capitalize on birdies. But man, do not throw it out of bounds anymore. You can't afford it.
Cashing it. Ooh!
Wow. That'd been a nice save, huh?
You got the box with that bogey though. It's not too bad.
Yeah, it's
take
not too bad.
Take it on 13.
Here we go.
All right,
5 to go.
Let's do it. The walk to 17. Yeah, maybe the most intimidating walk between 2 holes in disc golf.
I would agree with you on that. It gives you a lot of time to reflect back on the previous 16 holes, but you still got 2 holes to go, and one of those being a 9 hole.
Mm-hmm. Many times the tournament is lost and won on this next shot we're about to throw.
Yeah, you've seen it a lot of times on video. It's really coming down to the pressure of putting this tee shot on 17's island green in bounds. Most important thing you have to do right now. Oh my gosh, get in the basket. On. Get over the hay bales.
Oh, sorry.
Play safe to the wide side. That's your play. Down.
Fly it.
Give me
a
break.
Come on. There's a shot.
Sit down. Always scary on the side hill. It rolled, but it's still in bounds. Swing.
It will. It will. It will. It will.
Nice.
Little style points.
Yeah. There it is.
Oh, man.
A lot of fun, my friend.
All
Thank
done.
you for the round.
Hold on.
Here we go.
We'll do it that way.
Here we go. Thank you very much.
I ain't got 2 hands. What is this? I'm out. All right, we're in at 18. The final scores, I shot a 16 over course par 82. And Avery came in with a 68, 2 over course par, but
yeah,
that would miss the qualifying cut.
Yeah, no, that's over par, and you want to be low 60s, high 50s to qualify on Monday. I've seen as high as 62 qualify, maybe even 63 some of the years, depending on what it is. But 68, I had my ups and downs. I was a roller coaster. I had some birdies, I had some bogeys, a few out of bounds, 5 penalty strokes, and that's just Winthrop for you, man. It's just really got keep it in bounds, keep it out of the water, keep it inside the ropes. That's exactly how this course plays.
And he speaks like a true experienced professional out here, because the biggest thing I'll tell you guys from the 940 rated perspective is he's throwing 450-foot bombs, and it's a difference of 1 to 2 feet left to right. I'm maxing out my distance. I'm maybe getting birdie looks, but it's that consistency hole over hole where I feel like I played 16 of 18 holes okay, but that's not good enough to really get it done. So next time you guys are watching the top pros in the world throw these massively under par rounds, you can understand the focus and the commitment it really takes to score out here. So that's Winthrop. That's qualifying Monday. Hope y'all enjoyed a little bit of the magic, and thanks for playing with me today, Avery.
Awesome, absolute pleasure. Thank you very much.
Fun.
We need to do this next year.
We do, but
redemption round.
But first, one more thing. We did have our bet.
We did have a bet.
Any disc out of the old bag.
Oh, this is gonna be well
What do we
worth
got
it.
here?
And then you got a lot of CD2s, got some DDXs in here, a lot of Discmania.
I do like my Discmania.
Just for sentimental reasons, I saw you throw this during the round, and it's a brand new MD4 with the San Francisco Safari stamp on it.
Ooh.
And your first tournament you TD'd in, so I gotta grab this. You're a tournament director in this event, and you have your name on it. Very sentimental. I have to take this disc from you.
Keep it out of the water.
Absolutely. I'll keep it in bounds.
All right. I'm gonna need another MD4 soon. Avery just took a real sweet one out of my bag.
Oh, it was worth it.
We'll see you guys. We're gonna explore a little more of Rock Hill in the upcoming videos, so stay with us. We'll see you then. And welcome back. A year ago, Avery, what a battle. Well, it wasn't really a battle, but it was a lot of fun playing the round with you and kind of getting my butt handed to me a little bit. Let's check in on this top 10. What you looking at?
So Paul McBeth continues to extend his lead. James Conrad sitting 7 strokes back, and then Zach Milton sitting, 9 strokes back, 3 down through 14 holes, and Conrad 6 down through 14 holes. We're on hole 15 right now. Looking at Ricky Wysocki making a big move into moving day, currently tied for 3rd place.
Yeah, Ricky Wysocki 9 down for the round. We're going to take a look in just a moment. Paul McBeth, 2 birdies in a row, getting 13 and 14, looking like he's coming down the home stretch here. We got a long putt queued up. Let's see about Mr. McBeth with the putter. And that's a quality putt that could go very, very long on you, but you're standing at a good height when you're around that sidewalk.
That's an incredible putt there, just about 50 feet with everything to lose, but a birdie to gain.
And James Conrad looks like he made the triple Mando, doing a little coursework on the way up, and he's going to have a long look, but maybe a window for birdie on 15.
Another hole on this course, a very demanding tee shot through the triple Mando, setting up the 2nd shot to the green, showing off some skills on the putter, approach, or mid-range shot to the basket. That basket is just tucked back there along the tree line. Not easy to access, especially backside, right side. You want to put it front and center and at least give yourself a birdie putt or a birdie look.
Josh Anton joining the double-digit club once again. He puts his upshot under the basket. Should be good for another birdie. And here's Zach Melton. Made the corner as a lefty, but he is on the fairway after 2 throws, according to UDisc. So he's going to look to get up and down for par. Let's see. Looks to be putter, maybe mid-range.
Yeah, he's struggling a bit. 3 down through 14 holes, trying to keep pace with the rest of the card mates.
Looks like a good weight on that putt right there. That should put him inside of circle 1. He is putting for par. Just on another level right now with his focus.
You definitely got some options here. They're going forehand or backhand putter. Opting for the forehand here, looking for a little touch, trying to leave it out left side, which he does to perfection. Little late tree, but inside the circle. Shouldn't be too much hard work for him as he
Apologies for those technical difficulties there. We did a little stream reboot. We're back, and if you've watched Disc Golf Live coverage before, you know that complicated production and no stranger to technical. We appreciate Fulcrum and all their hard work out there grinding for us out here during this second round. And this is James Conrad with a long outside birdie attempt. Avery, what do you give his percent chance of making this?
being a top player and seeing him putt throughout the season, even throughout this round, I give it about a 85% chance. But just with the low line difficulty of these branches and the low line ceiling, he's really got to fire this shot back there with some good velocity trying to carry this basket.
And joining us once again on the studio, just greenside on hole 17, Emerson Keith, Steve Brinster, Max Nichols, and KJ Nebo are on the tee, walking towards the green just behind us, as you can see in beautiful out of focus. There's the basket. And once again, KJ, 12-time, the man himself. We have lead card on 15 and only the chase card in between the card we're looking at right now. Long day in the Kakalaki. Circle 2 putt on deck for KJ.
KJ on and one. Currently 2 down through 16 holes, 7 down total for the tournament. Looking to extend that score with a birdie putt here on hole 17.
36-footer on the way.
A little shift.
Taking his time.
A little refocus.
Ooh, just off that left side once again, saved by the hay bale. We got coming up here, Avery. This looks to be Max Nichols, who... Oh, Emerson Keith, excuse me.
Correct.
Can tell by the handedness. We talked about him earlier, having a great year. Max Nichols looking on behind.
A little step putt,
Oh,
jump putt,
man.
high right side.
This basket is stingy today.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of close misses, unfortunately, and just on a hole like this, where you do make the island green and you do get an opportunity for birdie, something you want to convert on with everything you got, and it's been unfortunate to see a couple chain outs or a couple putts left low with that OB being so close by the basket. Max Nichols.
Pure putt there, and you know what? At this point, USDGC organizers, just let the guy in. How many times has he just shown up and qualified on Monday? You know, what you should do is just have Max Nichols plus the next 5 scores. That's who gets in.
Give him that at least. He's been here on the Monday qualifier more times than I can count, but good to see him back in the field for the 2018 edition.
Steve Brinster with his unique form. 10 down so far. Your stream did not freeze. That's just how Steve Brinster putts, and just leaving it a little bit short.
I was looking forward to jumping on that birdie bus right there.
Looking a little frustrated there, Avery, but, you know, hey, if you take a par on hole 17, you cannot be too upset.
Currently 5 down through 17 holes, 10 down for the tournament. Steve Brinster putting himself in good position coming to movie day.
And we only have 2 cards left. It's been a long stream so far. We're very happy to have you with us. We can't wait for the rest of this weekend. More guests, more special surprises, more giveaways, and more people going to join our family. It's Hole 17 live at the 20th USDGC. Avery Jenkins, Jamie Thomas still sitting here greenside, and man, it started to cool off finally. And I don't know if the sun is just following Paul McBeth's round or not, but it's cooling a little bit here.
This is a great time of day to be watching some disc golf. As the sun's setting, get a little longer shadows, a little cooler temperatures, and what a great place to watch some disc golf coming down the final stretch here with 2 holes to play.
And this top 10 leaderboard is full of familiar faces. We've been saying it all day. We've seen a couple people jump up in there as they finish their rounds from the morning tee times, but at the end of the day, the people with the experience and the patience on this course are going to be the ones to prevail. Josh Anton, hole 16. Let's see it.
Looking like a fairly comfortable standard turnover shot at 391 feet. This green and this fairway is really enclosed and pinched off. OB right's coming in from the left side. Sorry, OB line's coming in from the left side, and OB lines down the entire right side of the fairway, making this green and this basket very inaccessible for a lot of these tee shots. So a backhand being an obvious choice for a lot of players, turnover shot, or a forehand, which Paul McBeth is lining up right here. I like it. Good speed, good velocity, good angle, and need a little skip and a roll.
He's got it just inside the circle, inside that hazard rope, and he is looking for a birdie. Paul McBeth missed the birdie putt on hole 15, so the best he could do if he birdies out is tie. Right now, Jeremy Colling has the hot round in the clubhouse at 10 down.
A very comfortable hole for Zach Milton. I think he waits all round for these type of holes. Good lefty hyzer. Going to keep you out of trouble and giving you a good attackable green on hole number 16. Plenty of room to work, pushing that tree line left side.
Looks like he clipped the foliage a little bit there. He had that smooth hyzer line dialed, but that's the danger of going a little wide, because not only are you not close, but you are sitting in a hazard. James Conrad. No way this is MD4. That's too overstable for this shot.
Yeah, it's a mid-range. It's got good carry. It has good float, if you will. It's a mid-range shot at 391 feet. If you get the height and the turn, I think he can carry this green fairly easily, especially with the distance that he can display on these kind of holes.
Let's see if he goes down the middle or pulls the ante. It requires commitment. And he does choose the up the middle route. He is just inside of the circle. McBeth and Conrad looking for birdies. Josh Anton should be as well. Zach Melton, still some work left to do on hole 16. And only 2 cards remain, and we will be halfway through this tournament. I kind of just want to be here a couple more days. Let's start this thing over. We run it back.
Can it be a 6-round tournament, right?
Yeah, why not? Just like old school Worlds. Marathon golf. I mean, I don't think anybody would come to this course. 4 is plenty enough for the people playing this event this year and this week. Once again, Rock Hill, South Carolina, 20th United States Disc Golf Championship, and we are 17 live. So let's see who's on the tee. This should be our chase card. Castro Barsby, Orem Ulibarri. You see the hat from Nico LaCastro. See some of the guys from Jomez Pro. Appreciate what they're doing. Going to have some great coverage. Their round 1 coverage should already be up, and by the time we're live tomorrow, you can check out the entire lead and chase card coverage. It's so great to be working alongside them. Here's your 2018 World Champion, Mr. Greg Barsby. No problem getting that on. So much control with the forehand.
Scrolling through some of these scores right here, it looks like Orem is struggling a bit on this round. Currently 1 over through 16 holes. Just looking to finish this round. 2 holes to go. Hole 17 and hole 18 standing between you and hotel room. Overjuicing it, throwing a little past, and making the mistake long.
And
he's questioning if he's got to throw again, and Yuli's like, yeah, it's your turn again.
I do believe, yeah, you do have to throw again. Just one of the more challenging parts of this. And when we started this broadcast, this is one of the first groups off of T1 that we saw, so it's come full circle. Let's go, Matty-O.
Just a little finger pop.
He doesn't like it.
A little fast.
Oh, and just that's the risk you take with a faster driver on that forehand.
You got to have a lot more height and a lot more angle. Really, if you're trying to convert on this shot, you really want to bury it on a hyzer line, really steep angle, and off to the right side of the green. If you're playing aggressive with a flatter shot, it has a tendency to skip and get a little speed on the ground play. There, his third shot does land on and has a chance to putt for triple bogey.
Never question the water there. Almost grabbed some chains. Matty-O has found the green. Ulibarri.
Known for being a great forehand thrower. See how aggressive he plays on this hole.
Ooh, once again, flashing the basket, and we almost saw another ace on this hole. It seems like when Ricky did it a few years back and got on SportsCenter, then all of a sudden everybody's like, I can do that too.
Yeah, currently 5 down through 16 holes, 12 down total. Paul Ulibarri having a very clean round. No bogeys and no blemishes on the card for today. See what Nico's got.
Tentative
2009
release.
USDGC champ.
Yeah, and he's just a little bit short there. You could tell he's tentative on the release. He's added the forehand to his game more recently, and he's done a pretty good job on some tight spots, but this is the ultimate forehand test.
You can see a lot in the follow-through or lack thereof on these shots, whether they're going to be inbounds or out.
And you could tell how far or maybe how not far Nico trusts his forehand. He had to put a little bit of a flex on that. Not quite as powerful going that way as he does with his backhand. Our chase card will approach the green, and let's take a look at what just happened on 16 moments ago. Paul Macbeth, like you said, smooth forehand.
I think that's the play. If you're right-handed, I think the turnover shot's pretty tough to read that angle, read that line. The forehand seemed to work out really nice for Paul. Circle one.
Good putt. And James Conrad also looking for that birdie.
Beautiful.
Mirror image right there. Pair of birdies for these guys, and here's our chase card walking down hole 17. Chuck Spike Heiser Connolly on the bag for Greg Barsby. Shout out to the Chuckster. He takes care of us all weekend at hospitality, making sure the players and staff and volunteers are fed with some good old down-home cooking. Appreciate everything he does. Barsby, khaki and red, classic. Looking like a mini champ, trying to do a champ impression.
Wow, he does look like Climo right now. All the impressions over the years of, Iron Leaf kind of videos, he looks like champ right now, and I think a good tribute to the champ who got to at least start the USDGC this year with the first throw, and a tribute and an honor for the 5-time USDGC champion.
Let's see if he can imitate champ with this putt and grab this birdie.
Champ going straddle.
Great putt by Greg there.
No doubt a champ. There's champs, which we are, and then there's also the champ, who is Ken Climo. So we always look up to the champ, but it's great to see Greg playing at such a high level. Second card, looking to stay in the mix going into Friday's round, but great to see him representing and playing so strong.
Yeah, a champ and the champ, one of the biggest differentiations in disc golf. Nico slow walking, and the mental game has always been the knock on Mr. LeCastro. He's undoubtedly one of the best. He's an aggressive player, has a great variety in his game. He needs to pull himself together here and save that bogey. But in the meantime, here's Paul Ulibarri.
Birdie putt on its way.
Great putt, a little bit high on the chains, but not a problem. He had the right weight. And what about a guy like Paul? It would mean so much for him to claim a U.S. title. He's putting himself in great positions so far, 13 down through nearly 2 rounds. Nico LeCastro, his traditional straddle putt.
Yeah, Yuli seems like he's always in the mix for these kind of big major events.
Oh no.
A little splash off for bogey, gonna drop in for double bogey.
And that's tough to swallow.
Yeah, it was tough to see. He took the double on 16 and now lining up for a drop in double on 17. Tough to finish. Again, you gotta play all 18 holes.
Matteo converts, and that should drop him to 3 under par for the round, I believe, as the UDisc graphic changes there.
Oh man.
Oh man, hound dog.
Yeah, it's tough to see. It's tough to witness as a player, other players struggling on holes like this. And again, no stroke total is safe until you turn your scorecard in after hole 18. With 17 standing between you and that finish, things can happen, as we've been witnessing all day long on hole 17.
13 down for Paul Ulibarri, 10 for Barsby, 8 for LeCastro, 3 for Oram. And we are just 1 card away from approaching hole 17. Not much left in this round today, Avery. Just hold on to your spots as much as you can and get ready for moving day.
Yeah, you can feel the energy and excitement as the lead card approaches hole 17 right up the hill from us. And you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibe, you can feel the spectators kind of gathering and making their way, as the gather is only going to continue to build throughout the next couple days as they're making that walk from 16 to 17. It gives you time to think about what's going on, what's happening. Paul McBeth currently 11 down through 16 holes. He gets a birdie on 17, birdie on 18. He actually can tie his first round of 13 down.
We were talking about it. You saw it in the video earlier. That long walk to hole 17 is one of the most brutal in all of the sport. Here's your current leader, Paul McBeth, on the tee.
And what I'd like to see is Paul McBeth actually going outfit coordination with the disc he's throwing.
Oh, that's next level.
Throwing a black and white Nova here, and also we're rocking all black and white. I like the style. I like the color situation here. And I'm only kind of guessing what he's going to bring on Friday and Saturday.
Simon Lizotte's going to take issue with him wearing Hugo Boss, though. But right now the Boss score gets to wear the Boss jersey. And super fans will remember that it was a black and white Nova that basically won him this event not that long ago. Let's see if magic can happen once again.
Does he like it?
He looked a little tentative, Avery. Ooh.
Beautiful shot. Great execution. Straight at the basket. Hitting circle 1 should be a drop-in birdie for the man.
Getting some love from Conrad. Good shot to good shot, even if you're competing against the guy.
Just good connection. Good follow-through. I think a good confidence of that disc out of his hand. You can only imagine the nerves, you know, after you watch a player park the island green, your second or third or fourth to throw. A lot of racing thoughts go through your mind at this point. You can see Thuggy kind of getting a little tense right there.
Staying loose. It's just that easy, right? Just park it. That's all you got to do.
That's all you got to do.
Conrad, AVR, sending it on the way momentarily.
Getting flat, flexing a little bit, looking to grab backside green, and does.
Should get a little relief off the water there. And you see him wipe his brow. He made it. It was challenging that water for a second. And here is Josh with a forehand.
I like it.
Is it too long?
I think it's just
No,
right.
it's perfect. You knew it. You called it right out of your hand.
So 2 righty backhands, a righty forehand, and here's lefty chomping at the bit here. He can actually play a little more aggressive on this line. A lot of room to work on the left side and bringing it back to that center B-pin position, being Thursday and the Friday location here on 17.
All we need is a Schwebby thumber, and we've seen it all. Here's Melton.
Good speed, good angle.
Ooh, flashing by the basket. I swear we have seen so many near aces on this pin. This is supposed to be a difficult pin.
It is, and we've seen it. We've seen it except for the last 2 or 3 cards, but it's good to see everybody putting their good move and their good take on this, good speed, good height, and good angle, and putting them on the dance floor.
I mean, you said it. We have seen people probably closer to acing the hole than they have been to hitting some of these tough birdie leaves that they've left themselves with.
What do you think's a chance of seeing an ace here? I know we had 2 aces on 17 over the last 2 days, but I think we need a big ace here covered live to really get the crowd going, the viewers going, the spectator going, and always has a chance to make ESPN top 10.
Any ace on Friday or Saturday is going to get people fired up. I can guarantee you that. And it is kind of funny that if you think about it, having that basket so close to that near side OB, I mean, really all you're trying to do is just get it just over the hay bales and not challenge the water. So,
right, you can watch by the players' emotions right here, just kind of their mannerisms. They're smiling. You see Conrad and Macbeth hopping the hay bale, smiling on their way to the green. That's a big relief to hit this shot and put it on the island in one. For those that don't make it, you see a different emotion being displayed.
how about all the spectators? After work happy hour at the USDGC, it's all possible this year, and they're enjoying it. Conrad gonna take his mark. Just making sure. Like we saw Johnny McRae do earlier. Just trying to find where exactly that out of bounds line is. But of course, benefit will always go to the player, and I doubt you would see, if it's an inch here or there, I doubt you would see much complaining.
I think he took a little less than a meter, but I think he's trying to pad the stats and get those circle 2 putting percentages up.
Oh, he's impressive enough. He doesn't need to, but sure would like to see it right here. James Conrad, birdie attempt on the way.
Happened too much so far throughout the rounds, watching these players, facing back at this OB. It's daunting. It's intimidating. At no matter what level player you are, it's a really tough putt, foremost.
Josh Anton looking for his birdie. Great putt.
Wow, just high enough off the front of the top of the rim and in.
You see Paul Macbeth in the background there with a little grin for Zach Melton. If there's one thing I know about Paul, he loves competition. As much as it's fun to run away with a tournament, he's a gamer. I know he wants to battle, and Josh Anton gonna make up that stroke. Let's see if Zach can separate himself once again.
Good angle to the basket, as we said before, just putting back along the OB. It's going to give you a little more confidence going back to the basket.
Dab on him, Zach.
Yeah.
Dab on him. Oh, and with Paul Macbeth confidently stroking that putt, James Conrad left out of the birdie party, and he is not happy about it. But he could take solace in the fact that he will retain possession of second place with plenty of golf left to play. One hole to go, not out of the woods yet. What are you thinking as you stand on 18, trying to cap off a great round?
It's obviously not over yet. You have one hole to play, a very difficult par 4, and probably one of the best finishing holes in disc golf. And the harder they make this hole, the tighter they make this fairway each and every year, you're not getting that far off the tee pad as you used to. You see some aggressive players trying to carry the distance and try to carry the hillside a little more. A lot of players are just trying to chip up short, land the fairway with a turnover mid-range or a forehand with a fairway driver. But, man, you're not out of the woods yet. Like you said, you really got to put your shots in position in the fairway. If you're looking to carry a par, that's great. A birdie, even harder. And depends on where you are in the scores right now. People are vying position, trying to make that lead card going in moving day.
647 feet left on this par 4 hole 18 with a Mando tree choking that fairway off. And the big thing is it's the second shot on this hole 18 that is way more difficult than the first. And here is your leaderboard. Paul Macbeth, 1 stroke away from replicating that 13 down that he opened up the tournament with. James Conrad, a respectable 7 down. You see Jeremy Colling down there, 10. Sexton at 9. Kevin Jones at 8. And, man, we are staring at a whole bunch of talent.
It's great to see Jeremy Colling bounce back from yesterday's round, jumping 22 spots into a tie for 7th place. And a little comment on Paul Macbeth on the putts today. He's at 20 putts through 17 holes. So he's only actually 19 putts through 17 holes, 94% inside circle 1. So actually having a very, very good day on the putting green. First to tee.
Paul Macbeth on the tee pad, just looking to find the right angle. Angle on the grass is so crucial here.
Looks to be going mid-range, just trying to put this disc in play. Nice straight shot. Looking for it to carry left and checks down the hill and does.
That's pretty good footing there.
Yeah, there's like a little rise right there. I think where he is located, it's like a flatter spot to get a better footing for a second shot. Depending on how aggressive he wants to play, you know, he's got a sizable lead over second place, and really depending on, like, he's in control of this position and this tournament at this point.
Here's Josh Anton throwing a turnover, committing fully to it, and that is a very great and aggressive play on this hole. He has found himself back inside the top 10 after that slip mid-round. Just showing once again, it's never over until the tournament is over. You got to keep fighting, and he's fought himself. He's not out of contention by any means.
I love how he stepped up to that shot and put his tee shot 70 feet past Paul Macbeth's in prime position to attack on the second shot.
Just to remind him. Here's the lefty.
As we said, a lot of these holes are laying out really nice. A lot of the right-handed throwers are throwing forehand shots, and in a position where Zach Milton's just throwing a nice, comfortable backhand, going way up the hill, but the second shot's going to give him a challenge to the lefty.
James Conrad, last person to tee on this hole for the day.
I hope they have enough tee pad length for this long, long run-up.
Yeah, you might as well stack a couple of those turf mats in front of one another because he has big loping steps, gazelle-like even.
Graceful. Great line, slight turnover, but flattening and hyzering left. That's going to the red zone.
That's trouble right there. That's not what you want to do in position. You question, should he have gone with a slower disc? I mean, is it worth it? Is it worth it to look at your position in the tournament and say, hey, I've got a few strokes on the third place player. Do I need to lay up, or do you just stick with your game plan?
You stick with your game plan. You know, in all positions, you got to anticipate a certain situational thing where you're going to have pressure or not so much pressure. But that time, you got to make your move. I just don't see a turnover shot for him. He's great at those, but I like the forehand option for a lot of those players, depending on how confident you are with that shot. Having that turnover shot, you better fully commit into getting that shot over. And it's a fine line. Like I said, these fairways are seeming to be just narrowing and narrowing more and more each and every year.
Whether physically or mentally, either way, it gets tricky. James Conrad left that putt to the left side, and he also put his drive off to the left side OB. So he's going to have his work cut out for him to try to stay on the lead card going into moving day. And the shadows are getting long here in Rock Hill. The day is almost over, come to a close, and happy hour. And DJ Heck Yeah will start playing up on the deck pretty soon.
Heck yeah.
It's going to be a great time. It's a whole weekend full of fun, competition, camaraderie, and, of course, disc golf. That's what we're here for.
We're here for disc golf, but I'm also here for that concert tonight. Zach Deputy going open mic, and I heard that Simon Lizotte might join him, maybe Greg Barsby or Philo on the drums. So I'm looking forward to a very eventful week of disc golf, but also entertainment as well.
I know a Cerveza's on deck for me as soon as we get off this broadcast, but until that can happen, we got to have Paul Macbeth finish his round, and unless something catastrophic happens, he is going to be your leader through 36 holes. Here he is on the fairway of 18, and looks like he's going aggressive like he usually does.
Look to be a fairway driver, maybe a Thunderbird. Hanging it out to the right side, looking for the good speed. There's wood chips up there once you get past the hillside, and looking for it to skip and carry down left. Not sure the result on that. He's smiling.
Saw the green flag. He got a green flag over the hill. I think that's the good line. You got to keep it low and you got to keep it right, and that'll give room to flare. Here's Josh Anton.
Going for it. Playing it tight, getting that big flare skip left.
Looking for a flag, and he's got it. And that's one of those where Josh can use the slightly less stable discs to kind of avoid some of the big flares down the hill. You can go all the way to the water, and it is disastrous down there, but both Anton and Macbeth have so far avoided that trouble. And speaking of water, we hope James Conrad got his disc back there, because it looks like a thick bushel of trees, but you can easily lose a disc.
Yeah, and being in that position, you're playing where it was last inbounds, getting your meter relief, but man, you're tucked up on that inside left side, resulting in a very tough third shot, and doesn't give you the opportunity to get up and down. You know, usually if it was farther back or to the right side, you may still attack and get down there on the green and maybe convert for a par. In this case, you're looking at a bogey or worse.
You can see we're bringing in our new camera angle here from the tee of 3 and the green of 18. Haven't seen this one in a little while, and saw James Conrad peeking out to try to figure out this angle. This is just the worst place to be on this fairway. He's going to have to conjure up something pretty special here if he wants to get up and down and save his par.
Again, out of position. On the side hill might be a standstill opportunity for him, or a little short step, one-stepper. Going hyzer line, big and wide. By the result of the claps, I believe he's in bounds.
Claps from the gallery looking pretty good, and we're talking about OBs getting to you. How about Ricky Wysocki on such a tear? He had bogeyed the 3rd hole. Then past that, he went 10 down, then took a 6 with 2 OB throws on 18 to finish in 7th place. Still climbing 3 spots from where he started the day, but man, he could have been on the lead card with some of the slips that we've seen from our top 4 players. And this should be Zach Melton coming in hot. Does it stay short of the OB?
There's so much action up there with the wood chips, with the kind of terraces built up by the basket. And you got some birds in the fairway. A lot of things going on, a lot of factors where your disc can hit, skip, and roll. And unfortunately, Zach Milton's disc does find out of bounds long of the basket.
Took a little bit for the spotter to get down there, but she does raise the red flag, and that's tough. Hole 18. I love this traditional green. I enjoyed being able to see Nate Sexton finish on that short A pin that they installed last year, but this is 18.
Yeah, no, this is the par 4 that we traditionally know as the finishing hole of the Winthrop Gold Course. Having that shorter pin, it made sense for the fact that the lighting is rare this late in the day, and you want to capture that champion, you know, making that final putt in the daylight. But with the traditional basket position on the par 4, it's how it plays. You want to play a difficult hole to finish this course.
And looking at the leaderboard, a little bit of a shakeup here, and Zach Melton is in danger of falling off the lead card as he was the recipient of the red flag. Ulibarri is looking to take his spot alongside Nate Sexton and Kevin Jones, hoping for an outside shot of some featured coverage tomorrow.
But if he converts for the par putt here, he'll still remain on the lead card.
Long flowing hair in the sun, shining in the sun. James Conrad. You think he uses that thing to check the wind?
I think it's a great advantage for him to use that, you know, in all cases, especially when the wind does pick up.
He's sweating this one a little bit. You could tell that is not an easy putt from just about 40 feet.
He had talked about this earlier in the week.
And that is a clutch putt, Mr. Jenkins.
Wow, it's beautiful to see a nice big par putt after going out of bounds on the tee shot. I called bogey or worse, and he called me out on that, right back at me with a par putt to finish the round.
Wow. It takes so much gumption to not only think about running that putt, but to give it the height, knowing that if you don't hit that basket square, you're long gone down there in the water. But James Conrad doesn't typically miss left or right. He's a very high or low putt when he misses and put it right in the heart.
Wow, true gamer. Still quite a few strokes back of Macbeth, but hits that for the par to keep in pace.
Josh Anton for birdie from 27 feet.
Wow, high left side, just didn't fully commit or extend on the follow through of that putt. He rarely misses inside the circle, and that was a rarity.
He definitely didn't miss inside either Circle 1 or Circle 2 yesterday, as we were talking about earlier. No real movement on the wind down there. The green is kind of protected. The flag is nice and still. And I think he just didn't account quite correctly for the drop. He's still practicing. He can't believe he missed that.
No, this is a backyard putt for him at any angle, any length, and he rarely misses those, as stated. And Zach Melton backside green, there's that big tree about pin high just behind the basket. It's a very famous spot where a lot of discs will hot skip or flare skip behind that tree, lining up a sizable 18-foot putt on an elevated basket to finish the round.
He has to make this one. This is about which card he's going to play with tomorrow. Can he keep sight of the leader, or is he going to have to rely on UDisc like the rest of us?
To remain on the lead card.
Oh, my goodness. Splashing out pro side, just too strong.
So with that miss and the drop-in bogey, that's going to move up Paul Ulibarri and Nate Sexton onto the lead card going into movie day.
Nate Sexton 9 down today. Paul Ulibarri 7 down today. Both of those guys will make their debut on the lead card for this tournament, and Paul Macbeth is tapping in birdies. Oh, excuse me, par for Paul Macbeth, laying that up, taking the par. 25 down through 2 rounds. That is, I think it's safe to say that Jonathan Poole's prediction of 30 under par for the winner is probably a little shallow.
Yeah, he was being conservative with that guess, anticipating maybe some other factors with wind or rain, or I'm not sure, but at 25 under par, well on pace to shatter that 30 down mark. Currently holding an 8-stroke advantage over second place James Conrad at 17 under par.
And here is the leaderboard, unofficially until the scorecards are turned in, but pretty official. Thanks again to UDisc for all the live stats and scoring. 25 down for Paul Macbeth, 8 back is James Conrad, 11 back Paul Ulibarri, 12 back Nate Sexton. That will be your leader card, I believe, with the hot round, unless they have to go to PDGA ratings, or excuse me, PDGA membership numbers. Let's check out those putts one more time on hole 18 by our leader card. And this, Avery, I'm speechless right here.
Yeah, calling it out, going OB on the tee shot, setting up a second shot after the OB stroke, and knocking down the par putt from 45 feet, elevated basket with a big drop-off down the hill to OB.
And Josh Anton just gets big putted. No way around it.
Yeah, it's unfortunate when someone makes a putt outside your range, and both the players closer to the basket both missed theirs.
Yeah, Zach Melton also with the big putt. Paul Macbeth playing safe, taking that par, and that's all she wrote. We're 2 rounds into this thing, 36 holes, and if you had predicted that Paul Macbeth would be leading, I'd say fine. If you predicted he had a handful of stroke lead, I'd say fine. If you told me 8, I would tell you're out of your mind. How do you recap what we've seen so far?
He's a past champion of this event. He closed this out in 2015 for the Grand Slam of all the majors that year. He is in total control of this tournament. 8-stroke advantage over the entire field. He's a monster out here. He knows how to play this course better than anybody. Shot for shot, in the fairway, taking 1 bogey for the tournament through 2 rounds. Like I said, he's in total control of winning or losing this tournament, and 8 strokes up, I think he can just do his thing and play aggressive and still capture more and more strokes. He's a fine example of a world-class player and a U.S. champion.
3 out of the 4 players on the lead card for tomorrow have majors to their name. James Conrad's biggest win came at the MVP Open this year. And one more look at our leaderboard as the shadows grow ever longer. The band is striking up, the brewskis are pouring, and it is time for happy hour in Rock Hill. Once again, this is Hole 17 live. We are on Innovadisc, Facebook, and Instagram, and YouTube, all of that good stuff. Here's some highlights from Hole 17 here at Rock Hill. Ace from Mr. Nick Eastwood.